I've got two souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make the man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put a dollar to my name like Creflo. Niger boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got two souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh. Get it from my mama, hip so thick that I need tempo. Personality, spicy body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu, since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing you need endurance to go in. I got mileage on this pen, I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
guys know, I know you guys were checking shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly! Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Austin.
Chloe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Judgment, Austin.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love it when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. And it's really good to be here with you guys on an early day. I had a live scheduled about Zachary Vidal, right? His aunt Cindy was supposed to come up, but she had her granddaughter stop over. And so it wasn't a good time for her and she asked me to reschedule. So we're going to still talk about Zachary. It just won't be today. But I was glad in a small way it worked out just as it should have, right? I never get highly disappointed. Of course, there's times where I really want to talk to people. And hey, Shadow. Hey, Chuchi. Thank you, Chuchi and Little Miss Sharon. But last night was out of control. Okay, we'll just say that. Like, I love free speech. I love you guys talking. I love hearing what you have to say. But looking back, a lot of the people misrepresented as mods, and and the people that represented well as mod. I'm thankful to have you guys. I really am, because the fact of the matter is that if you want to disagree with me, it's one thing, but if you have a wrench, you kind of have to remember that, like, I don't know, it's kind of like yelling at your boss, I guess. I don't know a good analogy, guys, because it's not like mods get paid, right? Like, you guys are here, you guys show up for me. I appreciate the hell out of you. I don't know what really to say other than, everybody that comes in here and listens, and gives their opinions, I'm grateful for, right? Because it's engagement. It helps the channel no matter what. But when I have people who have a wrench who are in here arguing with me and accusing me of being jealous of a creator that I actually respect a lot, just because I disagree, it's insane. It's for one, it's insane, and for two, it's atrocious. When you have a wrench, it's even worse. It's like insult to injury, right? So I had a rogue mod situation already. The reason that I have a leaked phone call from Bobby, Yue, and Crabtree is because of that some of those mods, right? So I've lived my life as a creator on YouTube in a couple of different ways. One was when I was just making videos. Life was good, right? Everybody loved my videos. I was steadily gaining subscribers. It was nice. But then I started going live and I showed myself, right? I was very vulnerable. I showed my home, who I am as a person, where you guys could just see everything, every expression on my face, everything. So those of you who were with me back then should know my mannerisms and even be able to come through, in your mind's eye while I'm talking to you, even when I have an avatar. So I'm very disappointed in the way that people were acting in here last night that had wrenches. So that's going to be rethought of. And if you do lose your wrench, that's a result of how I think that you misrepresented me in the channel. And I haven't had a chance to go grab them all up yet. So, and then there's also people that reached out to me that asked if I need help with wrenches, and I will, because if I lose people as mods, then I have to replace people as mods. As much as that pains me. And thank you, Bo. And yeah, people were using that as an excuse. Sandwich says lady was so far behind in chat, may have caused some confusion. I'm not sure. Well, and I get behind in chat. That's something that I've always done, Sam. I have to take responsibility for that one and just say, that's all me, because I like reading and understanding and responding to all of your comments. Since we have a small group in here, I have the luxury of doing that. If I was, a bigger channel that had like 700 people, 800, even 300 people, I would never be able to get to everybody's comments, and I would miss a lot. I missed a lot last night. That's why I had to, go back over, revisit that. But yeah, people were getting, I'm out, I'm out. They would say, okay, bye. You're not in here usually. So why is it a big deal? Right? Like, what do you want me to say? Oh no, please come back. If you're out, then you're out. You're gone. I can't say please come back because you're out. Right? Bye. I don't know what else to say. Right? It's not going to hurt my feelings if people don't like me. It's not going to hurt my feelings if people don't like what I have to say. That's expected. It was very expected last night. And thank you, Lori. And the thing is, guys, we're not used to drama and crap in our chat. We're not used to people being rude back and forth. I don't ever have to be like, hey guys, behave, but last night I'm all order in the chat. Please be nice. Please be kind. Please be respectful. I have Chuchi. Please be respectful. Lori, Little Miss Sharon, everybody, all hands on deck, right? Hey, Miss Anne. Good to see you. And so, hey Michelle. So it's disheartening. Hey Gina. It is, it's disheartening, and I wanted to address that today. Hey, Mama Marissa, good to see ya. See, I love having everybody, all our early birds are in the show. Thank you for being here. Hey, Jude, good to see you. Hey, Jude. See, when I'm early, I get Hey Jude coming in because she's the early bird. I call you guys early birds. You guys are just like have a normal schedule is really what it is. The night owl doesn't have the um, right schedule. Thank you, Chuchi. Thank you so much. And guys, just again, as a mod, it's like you got to support the channel. Most of you have a way of getting hold of me, especially like in a text message form, right? So you could straight to me. You guys could cut me wide open and cuss my ass out. Please do that. Don't ever do that with a wrench and publicly. That's very rude. I hope you guys understand that that's very rude. Hey, Andrea, you know, um, I mean, come on. I don't think I have to explain certain things like that. Hey, Leslie, good to see ya. Aw, thanks, Hey Jude. Thank you so much for gifting a Lady Freedom's Raw Narratives membership. If you got a membership from Hey Jude, please say thank you and welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Hey, TJ, good to see ya. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Mama, it popped off. Mama Marissa said, I must have missed something after I went to bed. Yeah, it popped off. Oh, I think it was probably the last 2 hours of the show, but it was like a 6 hour, long live. We did a long live last night. I wanted to show the two videos, but I couldn't get through the first one. So by the time we were through, Silver's almost through that, it was mayhem and madness in here, which again, I appreciate people being here. It's just nutty buddy. Um After a certain time it got really nutty buddy. Hey, Blessed in Florida, proud to be at the hashtag Huckleberry. Aw, thank you, Bless. Thank you. And I appreciate you guys so much. And that's the thing, we're gonna have disagreements, guys. We're not always gonna agree. If we did, that would be weird. That would be really weird if you guys just always agreed with me. I would be like, okay, maybe they're just afraid, not to, to disagree with me, right? But disagreeing and saying, hey, I respectfully disagree, and this is why. I asked people direct questions, and they were saying, please explain, please explain. And I'm saying, okay, well, I'll explain that, but you need to please explain this. Or I'd ask a question back like, which live do you want me to watch of Chris's exactly? Am I getting the wrong live here? Trying to figure out what was going on. And nobody was answering me back. So you have to agree. If you're going to disagree with someone, you need to give supporting facts and evidence of why you're disagreeing. Because if I present a theory to you guys, I present the facts and evidence that make me think that, right? Or the reasoning behind it at the very least, right? Because some evidence, might be circumstantial, or maybe it's the way someone said something, or hey, go watch this interview and you're going to change your mind, right? It's something the person said or did in an interview that makes you feel like they have guilty knowledge or think they have guilty knowledge. Those topics, I love discussing topics like that. I even respect debating because I think that's very healthy. So, for example, Cece's up on the screen. So I'm going to use you as an example, Cece. If Cece and I are going back and forth and Cece tells me, Lady Freedom, I disagree with your theory because of A, B, and C. And I'll say, okay, Cece, well, for that, I understand your point on that. For the next one, for B, right, I'm thinking, I disagree with you because of this. And you have to give a reason why, because otherwise, if you don't, it shuts the conversation down. It shuts the debate down. There's no debating, right? Debating is back and forth. Debating is somebody showing their ideas or theories or what have you, and then you're presenting yours back in a respectful, intelligent way. But if you're just going to be like, oh, well, you're this, you're that, I'm done. Well, that's not a debate. That's not healthy. That's like a 5-year-old stammering away because they're angry. Use your words. Tell me why you're thinking this way. That's all. And that will help me understand it better. And that might help you understand my point better. right? And then it's all healthy conversation. But what was going on last night was not healthy at all. Um, and it actually um, gave me the ick. It really did. So I thought about it more. And there's a couple of questions that I have about those lights as well, and thinking through the theory logically, and we're going to get into that. So, hey, Lisa King, good to see you. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Hey, good to see you, Busy Mama. Thank you for the green hearts. Why did you start your channel, Lady? When did I start it? I started it in March of 24. Yeah, so with Sebastian's case. He wasn't supposed to be my first case, though. I was actually going to talk about Little Harmony Montgomery because around that time, the trial for Adam was also coming to a close. I think, or it had come to a close. Good day, Cakes Boo. Hey, good to see ya. Aw, thank you, Cece. I love you guys too. Hey, Red Rush, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome, and we always have such a good conversation in here. It's usually a very mellow vibe, it really is. Hey, Kiki, good to see ya. So last night was kind of out of sorts. It really was. It was rude and uncalled for. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate that because, like I said, the more I had time to think it over, the more I was just disgusted by the whole situation. Hasty investigates. YouTube's wild for sure. You know what though? When I was on Facebook, I was kind of really surprised. I was like, "Whoa, it's just like YouTube! Holy cow!" Because I always just used Facebook as like a friends and family only platform. I'd never really ventured out. Nowadays, they got all kinds of stuff on there though. It's not, and that's the thing, Mama Marissa. She says, I do not understand why people want to make drama out of everything. And that was one thing that one of our new people that were in here last night was saying, like, well, you just need to get together with mom and talk. And I'm like, it's not even that big of a deal. I'm just simply stating in the timeline of events, trying to understand all of this. It bothers me with Bobby the neighbor having been the one giving the footage and things like that, especially after we went out there. And that could be part of my troll, my have been trolled in the past. Because I've been trolled in the past, right? With a lot of things. Like people send creators a lot of things and are like, hey, look at this. And, again, no offense to the person who sent this to me last night, but somebody sent me a little digger. It was, like a bobcat digger, and it was for a little child. And they're like, this is silent. This could have been used in the cemetery. And I'm like, no, ma'am, respectfully, no, ma'am. And then I said, is that like a little kid that's sitting on there? And I never got a response back. And maybe because it was late, I haven't rechecked it. But, guys, I can't just take something that somebody says to me and run with it when I don't believe in it. I will never do that. So yeah, and I mean, I don't mind. And thank you, Leslie. And I don't mind if people speak their mind. I don't. I don't. But it's just when it was directed, directly towards me. So are you really upset because of this? No, I'm telling you exactly why I'm upset. I've told you for the last 6 hours. That was very annoying. And just if you have a wrench, you have to represent me, in a positive way, guys. If you have a big major beef with me, um, please address it in private. You could, say whatever the hell you want, but don't do it in public. That's embarrassing not only for me, but for you. And then other mods can't do anything about it. Right? Because everybody who has a wrench is also, been chosen to represent the channel in a different way than our viewers, right? Or the, members or people that are just chatting. And so that was tough too, because some of the mods were wanting to take off other mods' comments, I'm sure, or at least, erase them. One thing that I find to be really, really important, right, is that we have an environment where we can all say things. Also, if we have people in the chat that are close to the case and they have leakage, that's important to capture that, right? Like I just went back over some of the comments that were made in Devlin Tate's case from different family members, right? Because I can go to, you know, looking that information up and seeing it, right? So, and that's why I always leave my live chats up and things like that so people can see it. Um, there is nothing that the hate channels love more than to see all of us at odds and fighting with each other. And so, if that's what, um, I'll just say, I don't think anybody was taking that into consideration last night, but I would hope that you would, because again, it doesn't just look embarrassing for me, it looks embarrassing for you that was doing it. And those of you who were doing it know who you are. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and list off all the comments that were inappropriate or rude. You know what you were doing, but it only makes you look bad and me, right, to the hate channels. TJ says, "Lady, don't you have a head mod that can time out?" Yes, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do, TJ. I have two. So, because I go on at night, you know. Hey, Catherine. So, but the point is that you should never put your fellow. Again, I'm going to use management as an example, even though it's not, an exact example. It's just like if I was a manager and you were a manager, and in front of our employees, right? We got into an argument, right? And then I would have to trump somebody that's my equal, right? So not everybody is a manager mod in here, but you guys are like managers still, right? You're managing the channel, you're managing the chat. And so for another mod to have to look at one of their fellow managers and say, "Man, I really wish I could get this comment out of here." That should never happen, right? Because there should be an understanding about that. And I understand that it's easy to be rude and disrespectful behind your keyboard, but it just should never happen. And I don't want other mods in here having to feel like they're upset. We're just not used to that drama in here. We're just not. Lisa King says, "If I don't like what is being talked about, I just keep my mouth shut and leave." Right? It comes with age. Yeah, Lisa. Well, and I mean, I want to hear what people have to say, because sometimes it's that one comment that could make me understand or change my point of view or perspective, And as an example, I was thinking, because everybody's saying the night of the 25th, the night of the 26th. So when I think of a night, right, I think of that night, like the 26th in the night would have been Monday in the night, right? So I was confused about that until someone helped me understand it. Then I said, "Oh, you're talking about like the morning of the 25th in the morning of the 26th." That makes a huge difference, and that changed my entire view on what we were talking about. Just with that, with that deeper understanding, and that's what I'm talking about. And if you never give anybody a chance to come to that understanding, then you're missing out, right? Because all it takes is a little bit of understanding, and then the light bulb goes off. You say, "Oh, okay, now okay, that does make sense, and that could have been possible," right? Because people are going the night of the 26th, and I'm going, that's the night that Sebastian was reported missing already. And you're trying to tell me, and I'm supposed to believe, right? And this is me saying this in my head, but to myself. And I'm supposed to believe that Chris, Katie, or whoever did something nefarious to Sebastian in the cemetery, went back there the night he was already supposedly missing, and did something in the cemetery. No, 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 no. That's gonna be a no for me. Right? Because I have my own brain. I think for myself. I'm sorry that other people don't appreciate that. I can't do much for you. You know. Thank you. Thank you, Cake Spoo. Alternate theories are welcome with facts and reasoning, right? So my way of thinking with this lights in the cemetery. Hey Sprinkle Donut. Um with that, I'm just gonna say it like this. So the 3 a.m. lights, which you guys know, I'm a big believer in that. I think that's possibly and probably the most reasonable explanation for Sebastian leaving the neighborhood, leaving his house that night, right? That there was somebody with a flashlight that came out of the house where he lives with him, obviously. And then they went back to the house and Sebastian wasn't there anymore, right? That's very logical. That makes sense to me. Okay, you got me. Hook, line, and sinker, right? So Chris from Mob Crew was the one that introduced us to this theory that completely makes sense, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So then he also shows us some footage of the neighborhood where there's a silver sedan, right? And so now I'm looking for silver sedan. But you want me to believe that that silver sedan left the neighborhood and then 2 SUVs or a truck and an SUV or whatever it is went into the cemetery 20 minutes later right next to the crime scene where they took this child out? No. Again, no. My brain says no. No, no, no. Now prove me wrong and tell me what I'm missing. Because there's no fucking way. I'm sorry. I forgot I'm not on a night show. But there's no freaking way that somebody did that. That would be the dumbest criminal on the planet, and they would have been caught 2 years ago. C investigates. I'm very curious about the cemetery, but I think there was more convenient places to hide something or things at the time. Sure, I'm the same way. C investigates. So my way of thinking is that the trash was being picked up that morning. If they wanted to dispose of anything, they would have put it in the trash. It would have been picked up before they reported, right? Because they reported Sebastian about an hour later, give or take, maybe a little over. Thank you, Chuchi. Chat GPT about the cemetery situation was saying be wary of the people trying to get views from the situation because LE never said anything of significance. Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering about that. And again, Bobby is a clout chaser, guys. You're gonna hear that you're gonna hear what Bobby had to say the last time she was messing with people in this case. Because I have the leaked call. Was Sebastian on the Bobcat? I mean, Jude, it was a little Bobcat that you put together. Like, first of all, you had to assemble this thing. Second of all, they would have to transport it out there, but it was like, yeah, no. Well, and that's what I'm wondering about because she is a busybody, Sam. She is. She's not trying to help the situation. She's trying to make things worse, in my opinion. Hey, Valley Gal. And who does that in a missing child's case? Goes back and forth and does this and connives here and does things like this back and forth. And then we never get to see her, what she's seeing. So she could be like, oh, yeah, I see it. I mean, come on. And people love to troll. They like to get over on other people. Last I heard, Bobby didn't even like, anybody having to do with Sebastian's case. She's called the cops on everybody. Those little diggers can be brought in on trailers, easy on and off. Yeah, but I think with the little with the one that I was sent, it was actually like it was a little digger, like it was for a child. Um, so I don't know who would have fit on there. I hate to say it, but I'm picturing like Danny Guy, that big old the big old guy on a freaking baby digger. Lil Sharon. So I just don't see that working out. I don't think Mama Socks would get on top of that thing. Even, old Terry Bauer Socks wouldn't be, he wouldn't fit, right? He would be, it's, yeah. No one is going to agree 100% of the time, all the time, but private conversation should be had. And when they feel that strongly about it, I think so. I would appreciate it. It would just be a little bit of respect for all parties, Mama, because, you know how people, um, just they just love to see us get at each other's throats, and that bothers me because that's not usually how it is. And so the 1 minute that they see that a little in for that, um it brings them joy, unfortunately. you know Denise, do they use the ones for children though? Like, this one was for a kid. This one was absolutely for a kid. So um yeah, I don't think that the industrial companies ever use stuff like that. I mean, for once, it's not just me getting misbehaving. Sam, I was honestly confused what the issue was, but I'm not into the cemetery debacle. I don't care for Silver's. Aw, no, I like everybody. You know what I mean? And everybody that is trying to find Sebastian, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm like, oh, good. And like I said, Silvers also went to Stop 30, and there was like weird stuff in Stop 30. Like, it wasn't just the bones that were visible. Hey, Mama, you know. Um, Aw, thanks, Kickspoo. I know it was late night and it was long. You know. Oh, hey, Jude, it was atrocious. It was atrocious. Well, yeah, and the people that were doing it were definitely people who had my phone number or at least an email contact, So, um, yeah, it's very good. It was uncomfortable, Andrea. It was. And then, I was exhausted. I know my other person was as well, and we talked about it even after. I'm like, oh, that was like a turd in a punch bowl, you know. So, let's see here. Hey, Women's Warrior. I just want to get everybody to, I know I'm a little bit, again, like I'm always behind in chat. Hey, Juicy Jules. Good to see you. We have to dodge the hate channels. Thank you, Cakespoo. I try. I try. And I'm not going to get it right every single time. You know what, guys? I won't get it right every time. There's going to be times where you guys are going to correct me, and I'm going to be super thankful that you guys corrected me, because I hate when I get off of here and then I'm like, oh shit, I said that wrong, or I'll think back about it. And I'll say, no, that's not right. I didn't say that right, so I appreciate it when it happens in real time, so I don't have to try to remember to correct it later. So um thank you, Sam. Thank you. And Sam, you have the best questions. I have to say, Sam's helped me out a couple times in here, especially when we had a panel guest and I was my head was spinning. It's a lot when you have a panel guest and you're trying to ask all the questions and listen, and you're reading chat. And so, hey, Tina girl, good to see ya. Good to see you. Good to see you. I can show the digger. Yeah, TJ, give me a second, hun. Let me send it to myself. Let me send it to myself, and that'll be because I sent it last night um to look at, to show someone else, because I was like, what do you think of this, type of a thing. And they're like, no, it couldn't be, right? Um, so give me 1 second and I will, because I don't want to, like I said, I appreciate, I appreciate the person who sent it to me for sure. You know what I mean? Because like I said, if you guys don't share these things with me, like I might not even know, right, what's going down. Um, oh no, I didn't want to do that. Whoops, sorry. All right. All righty. I mean, and it's cute. It's for like a little kid. It's for like a little guy, like a little guy. Like you would get for like if Dad did that project, and then the little guy did the project with Dad and did his was on his little machine, and his dad was on the big one, right? It would be like the cutest thing you ever saw. Um, but it would not. Um, I just can't see any of the I don't know, any of the bigger guys doing it. Um, okay, here we go. Yeah, I can share this. Give me 1 second, guys. Bear with me. Sorry about that. All right. So it's a $500 digger, right? And I mean, let me just say, we got, it's mock hydraulic, right? Spring assist, action lever, right? I don't know what any of this friggin' shit means. It's fucking made in Italy. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't. I'm like the biggest girl, girly girl. Like, oh my god, I have no idea what this is, and I don't know how to work it. I'd hurt myself, right? But it's actually for a child. See, look, isn't he cute? And he's over there digging, you know. So, um, okay, I'm not as far back up behind as I thought I was. That's what I mean. I don't mind. I like timing out or time, put somebody in timeout. I've been put in timeout as well. Hey, Jude. I would be. I've been put in YouTube jail before. I've been put there, and they said you're banned for 24 hours. I'm like, oh shit. I was like, what did I say? Oh yeah, that was probably the comment that got me banned. But yeah, it's a little digger, right? Quite expensive, but they do make them very small, and they're about 3,000, and you can see a grown man on them. They look like a kid on the toy, but they do make them. But that's the toy. Yeah, like you assemble it too, TJ. Oh gosh, don't do that. Here's the one side, but yeah, you could see like it's got the grip and everything, but the wheels are not, and then yeah, Raleigh Toys. But it says it does it in the snow, right? It says dumping, digging, building, and then you have to assemble all of it. So, I mean, I would think trying to dig a spot that has already even been dug up, you know, um, it would have been, yeah, this is the dad putting it together or whatever. Um, Little Miss Sharon says, Lady Freedom, what about this? What about if CP let Sebastian drive? You know, I will say that it's been said that Sebastian didn't want to drive. He was all right with not driving yet. And he also liked it when Seth drove because that's what he was used to when they'd go on the road trips and things like that. So, I know I don't a toy one, but I don't know if there's other ones that could possibly be, a match for it. Um but again, the 6-minute time frame. Now, is there sorry, is there, let me go ahead and just take this down. Um, is there a longer amount of time? But then also, why would somebody take Sebastian, and where did they go? Right? Where did they go for 20 minutes? Were they waiting? Did they go straight to did the silver car, right? I'm talking about the silver car. Sorry, I need to be more specific. Did the silver car go straight away to the cemetery and sit there and wait for the other vehicles? Or because I know, Hey Jude, you were talking about how they might have put the license plate back on the car. I know, Lisa B, that's what I said. Well, when I saw the price on it, I thought, "Oh, well, this is something interesting," right? Until I realized that it was so little. Then I was like, "Oh, no." But I mean, $500 for that? I know. Oh, yes, because he's driven that before. He's operated that before. But see, I don't know if you could cut the lights off, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. If nobody would hear any commotion at all, was there any audio to that video? I mean, obviously, if it's did Silver say it was about a half a mile away? 4, I think people were saying 4 football fields. And so if it was that far away, I don't know that the noise would travel unless it was, like, at the bottom of a hill or something like that. If the neighborhood's lower elevation, you're gonna be able to hear stuff that's upward better. Because we used to laugh. I've told this story before. When we were down in Branson, my friends have a lake house up there, and it's on the top of the hill, and then you walk all the way down the hill, and you're right on the lake on a cove. And people could hear our conversations down when we were down by the lake. The people that were sitting up on the deck could hear what we were saying. So we'd always have to be super, like, quiet, and not, if we were if we were saying something we didn't want everybody up top to hear, and so because one time we got busted and they were like, "We heard what you guys were saying," type of a thing, or something happened. I can't remember what, but it was funny because I was like, "Oh," you know. And then my friend's dad liked to call us dumbasses, and so he's like, "Yeah, we heard you, dumbasses." And it was like, "Oh, how'd you hear us? You can't even hear us when we're sitting here talking to you." And then we tell him he needs a bell tone. But that's just how my friends are. We joke around with each other. I miss them a lot. Sebastian was operating the little bobcat. I got you. Hey Jude. Sorry, I just saw that comment above. Thank you, Cakes Boo, for the super sticker. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. Um, Hey Jude says he was operating a little bobcat. I just think there would be so much noise, and then, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know. The one Sebastian was doing was landscaping, was a real bobcat, just a smaller one. Yeah, he was really operating that one. Yeah, and Chris had said he did a good job at it. You know, you can rent them, yeah. But see, that's not being questioned. Like the machinery is not being brought into question to my knowledge. And again, just a disclaimer, I have not watched Chris's most recent live, but that last one that he did was a premiere. It was like a recap, so he put everything in there. Plus we watched the test that Silver did, or Silver's 1 and 2 did, but then also there was people who were assisting with that, but we don't get to see what they were seeing, you know. So it's just oh, Lisa B says there was demolition and construction going on at the football field and bleachers. Maybe they borrowed the equipment. We talked about that last night, and a lot of times people will leave the keys and that kind of stuff, just in there, depending. I mean, I've heard of people going onto job sites and using their stuff or doing things like that. So, um, I don't understand why law enforcement hasn't done jack shit about Sebastian being missing other than the week-long search. Tina, that's upsetting to me as well. It really is. It is. And you know, I think a lot of it, um, should have been done in the very beginning. And I asked myself the same question about why are people giving footage all of a sudden of this activity in the cemetery now, 2 years later, right? Almost 2 years later. So, because I know law enforcement has all of this, they have to, right? Unless they just chose not to get it. Yeah, they use like a special machine. And I'm not saying that somebody couldn't have used a shovel, but I think they would have been in there longer if they were actually digging up a spot. So, um, my my theory's still pretty open. I'm trying to figure out why they would go back to the cemetery. It's not directly next door, but it's on the other side of the new builds. Like, why would they choose to do that, um 20 minutes after the fact, give or take? So, no, I don't think CP did a recent live. I don't think so, Cake Spoo, you know. Um The Proud Sox and his family have connections. They didn't shut down the work site. How do we know if someone borrowed the equipment and dug a grave at night? None of us were there. Hey, Starwolf. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but there would have been some sort of activity that would have been seen. But the only thing that we're really examining is the car lights at 3:45-ish in the morning, you know? So, and I agree, they do have connections. I just don't think that they would do anything that risky right there where they were. So that always kind of stops me right there. Yeah, it's Table Rock Lake. That's the one, Cece. That's the one. Yeah. Look at KP's tattoo to see if it matches the graveyard. Well, people were saying it's shaped like the one pond, Ford Pond. Was it? Sorry if I got that one wrong. Yeah, they were. They were, Mama. I don't know why. I don't know why. It was pretty wild. Henry Ford Pond. Thanks, Starwolf. That's the one. That's the one. Oh, thank you. You emailed me pictures of the digger, women's warrior. Okay. Uh, our cemetery has a shed with the little digger and the ride-on lawnmower and what they use. I have sent you an email with pictures of the digger. Okay. Oh, here, I have it up. Hold on. Let me see here. Oh, okay. Oh, thanks, Michelle. I just saw that one. Digger. Okay, here we go. Digger, we're using in our cemetery for a grave. Thank you. Let's see. Thank you. Here, I will show. Now this one looks like it could do it. But aren't these loud? You guys are gonna have to tell me because I'm a girl. I'm a girly girl. So give me 1 second. Oh, not this one, not the little guy. Sorry. I could use some expertise here. Excuse me. So can you guys see this? Oh, sorry. It makes it so little on my end sometimes when I do that. Okay. There we go. Hey, Joni. All right, so we got this digger here. Graveyard shift for Volvo. And it's a Volvo EC20C. And this is what they would use. You can see it's they're digging up the grave, and I guess it does it exactly. Oof. So Star Wolf, I haven't ruled that out. And that's what I was side eyeing Bobby, and everybody was thinking I was side eyeing Chris from Mob Crew, right? And I'll just say Mob because we have Chris Proudfoot, so just to not to differentiate between the two. Um, yeah, I mean that's what I'm wondering, or she's trolling. So, thank you, Women's Warrior. So this one I can see. They make backhoes that are half the size, TJ says. Hmm. I mean, Lori, why is she inserting herself into, especially people who want Sebastian's awareness out there? These are people that want Sebastian's awareness out there, no doubt about it in my mind, right? I mean, they just do. It's Silver's on the scene. He's always say his name, say his name, say his name over and over, right? Awareness for Sebastian, awareness for Sebastian. You have Bobby, the neighbor, that you're going to hear in this phone call that I'm going to play. The last time she came up, or excuse me, the last time she talked to people behind the scenes when she didn't think anybody was listening, she said she's sick of seeing Sebastian's flyer. We already know he's missing. I'm sick of seeing it. Well, hot damn. You know? Oh, okay. I just have to scroll down. Thanks, Women's Warrior. Here's a good one. So it just makes me nervous for those people, so I'm gonna say something about it. I've been trolled too pretty hard, guys, for people. But is this something that would be loud? Would be, in the middle of the night, and then also does it have lights on it? Like, does it have, I would admit, oh, here we go. Yeah, it has lights here. It's got this big flasher. I don't know what that's called. Um, right there. So I guess they used no lights and they were doing it that way. Yeah, she called the cops on poor BHB, and all she was doing was putting flyers up the neighborhood. We don't want the flyers in the neighborhood. We don't want them. Like, what? What if that was your kid, yo? Hold on one second, guys. Jingo's drinking his water. Give me a second. Okay, sorry, Django's got his water break here. Um, but yeah, so Joni says, "Hey lady, I can tell you digging a hole in the Looster is not as hard as you think. I just buried a 90-pound dog in less than an hour, and I think the woman's name is Erin, not Bobby." Well, Erin was there too. And thank you, Joni. I'm sorry that you had to bury your dog. That's very sad. Um, and I understand that, digging from, um, if it was just digging the grass and then into the ground, it would be, more labor intensive. But as it pertains to Bobby, Bobby was the one on the walkie-talkie. But Aaron was also there as well, helping with the situation, according to you know Silver's on the scene, and also I got an email from Erin, so I'm well aware of who Erin is. I've talked to Erin in the past. She's been in the chat. So I mean, these are the things that you guys don't know about behind the scenes, but I'm very well aware of this. I'm very well aware of Sebastian's story, and everything that happened, all the way up to this um, situation. And Hey Jude says, Lady Freedom Bobby is a source for mob. Yep, yep, I know that. It's her house. Yep, yep, yep. That's what I was saying last night. And her camera footage. Yeah, and people were saying no. Yeah, she must like Mob and Silvers and trust them. Uh, yeah. Or she might be trolling them. Or or she saw me and Jen over at the cemetery and decided to, start sending footage over there pertaining to that, unless he already had that, and then, decided to go over it. Silvers on the scene also checked out the Stop 30 that we went to as well that day. Um, Paige, thank you. Paige says my husband has driven the heavy machinery for over 20 years. He said not real loud, in quotes, was his answer. Take that from what you will. Yeah, but those guys are so used to loud stuff. Oh my goodness. Fork Bobby. Lori, I don't know if people remember this conversation that I'm gonna play, but um, you know, well, that's it, but she didn't think anybody was listening, Chi, either. So, oh, thank you, thanks, TJ. Maybe CP has a meeting with. Oh, sorry, has a meeting with Bobby like Yoda, or like Yada. Yada. I said Yoda. Julie Skolnick, in my opinion, am I going to change my mind? Well, and that's the thing, like, they did this to Nerdy too. Like, they did it to Nerdy. They've done it to me as well, but I was, like, very much trying to, vet everything I talk about. I'm thinking it is still loud, you know? They could have just used the car lights, and that could have been the reason why they turned the car lights on for 6 minutes. But then again, wouldn't there okay, so if we look at this, and this is just the way I'm thinking of it, if we're looking at this and we're dragging dirt over and then we put somebody in here, right? And then we would have to drag the dirt over back again. Are they going to do as good of a job in the middle of the night to where nobody would see it disturbed? I mean, is the Undertaker saying that, oh yeah, that night I remember somebody was messing with the grave. That this particular grave that they're referring to, that somebody was buried there a couple nights before, a couple days before, whatever, what have you, recently, right before Sebastian went missing. The one that they're talking about in the videos. That's what I'm wondering, you know, um, because it doesn't make sense. Hey, Lady Freedom in chat. These lights have me asking a lot of questions in my head. I consider myself a logical and smart thinker. One thing I think about is, did law enforcement have this evidence? And I think that's a very um like natural thought, because that's the first thing that came to my head too, Thomas. Thank you. Um was if well, what I said exactly, because I was reviewing one of Mob's first videos on this, or like maybe it was the third one or something. It was one of the initial videos on the subject. And I said, wow, he's got like tons of footage from the neighbors that he's working with, or that he has been working with. I'm like, so there has to be just as much from law enforcement, if not more, right? Unless every single person who sent evidence into law enforcement sent that over to Mob too, right? So that was my first thought, was like, wow, if he's got this much evidence, law enforcement must have, a mountain of evidence, just like Tony said. Oh, thank you, Women's Warrior. I will check it. I'm gonna get this call going for you guys, and then we'll revisit for sure. No, I'm not either, Hey Jude, because I've reviewed this phone call. and I could tell that she was definitely playing both sides, you know. Yeah, no worries, Joni. Thank you. Two or three, and see, this I did talk about this a little bit last night too, Lisa. So like if there's more than two, or excuse me, if there's more than one person digging, right, more than one person involved, which I would think logistically that would have to be the case, that they're going to be able to dig up faster, right, than just one person doing it, right? Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely understand that. Thank you guys. Thanks, Lori. I don't think either one of them wanted to be recognized. Hey Jude says, Lady Freedom, is it possible Bobby didn't want people to know she was helping Mob and Silvers? Yeah, because I mean, um, that's probably why they didn't show the footage from her perspective, but because I don't trust her, I want to see that footage from her perspective. She said she was looking into a camera that she could see the lights, and that's what was the aha moment, right? Or the, you know, uh moment where it's like, okay, boom, right? But nobody else could see it besides Bobby. And if she was about Sebastian from the beginning, I would think, she's a good source, but she hasn't been. Yeah, Aaron was the same one that was being followed in a yeah, in a white truck in the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. And she searched with Jen in the beginning, and they searched that area. So maybe it's always been a spot for her that she's thinking that something could have happened that night. And I mean, we were talking about it last night as well, that, in the beginning there was a lot of um hoopla about the cemetery. And even Terry Lynn sent me the first email she was sending me, was she was sending me over herself, and her giving, a kid Sebastian the Crab in the cemetery in the middle of the night. So she was saying there was other people in the cemetery. She was in the cemetery, not this particular one, but where she has her grandma buried. Me and you, I think that's Bobby on the walkie-talkie. I think that's what you're talking about on the try run. Um she's the one that was in the walkie-talkie. Um Stop 30 is located in between the Texas Roadhouse and Sebastian's house, and or the Proudfoot residence. And it is called Stop 30 Road, and it's just like this little um area that you can pull off, you know? So, um, Star Wolf says, I will say CP was home that weekend, and they said that the tower bounced off his truck twice, and they didn't know it was him. He was gone long enough to pay someone to change his black box in his truck. Oh, that's interesting, Star Wolf. Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you. Um, I look out free. I took out free trees out this past summer, and that was a fun job digging roots out and pulling them out. Huh? Yeah. Oh, I bet, Tina. Oh, me and you're saying that that was not Bobby on the walkie-talkie, or oh, hey, Judas saying me and you know Bobby didn't help with Sebastian disappearing. Yeah, no, I don't think that either. Hey, Jude, no, no, no. Um, No, no, ma'am. I do not think that she helped out in the slightest on any of that. No. I think she's just, the neighborhood spokesperson, and she has to be in the mix of everything, you know. But then behind the scenes she talks about how she's oh, sorry. Give me one sec. Okay, so but yeah, no, I didn't think that she was doing that. Lady, I'm 100% with your feelings around Bobby. 2 years is a bit of a long time to just drop this. I feel CP has a hand in the distraction. What we need is to figure out what is being distracted from. Yeah, I mean, I understand that as well. I understand that as well. Yeah, and I also don't think Bobby has anything to do with anything except for being on the other end of the walkie-talkie and being the one to give the footage for sure. You know. And again, guys, if you have reliable sources and information, send it to me in my email. If you don't want me to share it, I won't. But I'm not just going to take people's word for it because you guys are like fangirling over Mob, and I think that's a problem. I think that's skewing our view, right? I think he's cute too. I understand it, right? I think he's a very talented person, and I'm pretty sure he's one of the few memberships that I kept going when I went to Tennessee because I had to drop all of my extra spending habits in order to make the trip. So I'm pretty sure I still kept him as a member. So that's not I think a lot of people are missing the point, right? Hey Witchy Mama. Well, I hope you have just as much respect for me, Kiki, and I would hope that you would continue on with that. And and if you're not going to, then please leave the chat. That's all I got to say about that. Because you can respect everybody else, but you have to remember that you're at my channel now, so I can say whatever I want on my channel. And you have to remember that you have to be just as respectful to me as you're being to Silvers and Mob because you're in my channel right now. I mean, I don't know why that's hard for you to understand. It's very disheartening and disappointing. I'll just say that. I pulled a screenshot from the video that night, and there are so many people I counted 4. One looks like a young boy with red hair. Huh, that's interesting, Joni. And that was from a still. I've been getting photos from the video as well. Are you talking about from the video from the mob cruise footage of the cemetery? Stop 30 is a road that runs from New Shackle Island to Greg's Creek Road. A lot of people use it to cut through. Thank you, Gina. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, but a bit cloudy. Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, we all want recognition for our hard work. We're all always trying to build our channels as creators, no matter what a creator tells you. We all want our channels to do well. We all want to be successful. We all want these stories to get more. We want the people who we're talking about to get the clout, right? Um, the star of the show is not me, it's Sebastian. I don't have 108 people in here, no offense, when I'm talking about Devlin Tate, because you guys are so invested in Sebastian's case, right? I know that. Um, and it makes me happy. But that in the same way, um we all want to be recognized for the hard work that we do, right? So when Jen brought me to these spots, I was glad when the other creators decided to look into them, because that's what we should be doing, right? Because I can't go down and live in Tennessee, right? Um, I could only stay for so long. Yeah, all of it's good, Sam. We need to keep his story out there. We would need to. Hey Pat, good to see ya. See, I try to do the day lives for you guys. Um, hey Jude says my question is how would the 3 a.m. car get to the cemetery without passing cameras? Well, that's what I'm wondering too. I'm wondering the same thing because even if there was it does appear that there was a car even in the school parking lot. They have cameras there too. And so I would assume they would have that footage, you know? So the cameras at the fire station too. Thanks, Busy Mama. I keep forgetting about that. But that was one of my main things because when you actually go there, guys, you see how close the fire station is to the cemetery, to all of that, to the school. It's just right there. Um, it's just all right there. Well, but Kiki, you've been very disrespectful to me, and then you've been rising up the other creators, and you've been causing a lot of issues. And last night was very uncalled for and rude. So again, I'd respectfully ask that if you're not going to be kind to me in my own channel, that you just go, and not be in here for this. If it's upsetting you that much, or if you feel like you have to stick up for Silvers and Mob Crew, I've said nothing wrong or nothing bad about them. So, yeah, that needs to stop right now. So, hey, Sweetsy, good to see you. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Hey Jude. Why weren't more cameras working that night? I think jammers were used. Yeah, and we talked about the jammers. We did talk about that. Now, the one camera that was having a lot of issues that we do know about for sure is the camera that was hardwired, and you can't jam those unless you hack into the system. Because we went over there that the one night, and I wonder about that as well. Yeah, Terry, they were saying some of the cameras were jammed, and the one, you know, um, that was, of course, was the one that was hardwired. I mean, that we actually know about for sure, right? Like, that's the only one that I know for sure was jammed in the neighborhood, and then because it stayed jammed, right? It stayed jammed. So, um, Kikio's she has been misunderstanding, and it's not our Kiki True Crime. She has been misunderstanding and arguing back and forth with me, and it's been going on since last night. Being white knighting for Mob Crew, and I've said nothing bad about either one. I've thanked both of them for what they're doing, but when people come to me and they send me these videos and they ask me to review them, I'm not going to lie to you guys. If I don't agree with it, I don't agree with it, and I'm not going to agree with something that you guys want me to just so you guys won't be rude to me in my own chat. That will never freaking happen. That is insane. I don't know one other creator on this planet that would deal with that would even let you guys have the voice that I give in here. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I'm not going to be disrespected. You know? Thomas says, and something else to consider, these two parents are former military, and CP has said himself he was deployed to Haiti for a search and rescue after the earthquake. So why hasn't he had searches? I think that's a great point, Thomas. And I've brought that up because Mammon had sent me that live stream. It wasn't even a live stream that has been very well like played or known about, and he was talking about that. Yeah, he was talking to two ladies. I think one of them was like barbecue's friend. There were two of them, and he was bragging about what a tough strong guy he is and how he goes out and search and rescue for the earthquake and blah blah blah. But when it comes to Sebastian Rogers, they can't be bothered, right? It's terrible. It's terrible, you know? Anyone think that there was someone already there before the lights were spotted, in my opinion. Sweetsy, I think that it's possible, but again, there were cameras around the area. Hey, Cinderella. Yeah, yeah, he was bragging about it. He was bragging about it. Yeah, thanks, little Miss Sharon. He was bragging. Oh, I was out there, I was out in the field and I was, doing search and rescue recovery because there was all kinds of, I mean, obviously when there's an earthquake or any type of, large scale like hurricanes, anything like that, even tornadoes can be devastating. And people have to be recovered under the rubble and things like that. And that's what he was, talking about. Oh, well, thank you, Sammy. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just I'm not even used to people being rude to me in my own chat or being rude or you guys being rude to each other, and I do think that it's a lot of misunderstanding. And yes, Doodle Mom, it's about Sebastian period, but I also think about his father who comes into our chat who at this very tender time of the year is having to hear about maybe the fact that Sebastian was put underneath a grave, on top of a grave, buried over, and we're speculating. That has to be devastating for him, right? So I also think about that, but it is about finding Sebastian. So no matter where he is, if this is the truth that they took advantage of a grave being dug and then they did something like this, it has to come to light. It has to, you know? Well, and that's just like Melody Buzzard. Her mom didn't even look for her, was taking down flyers. Thomas, it's terrible. Lady, can you read my comment about correct myself? Oh, sure. Give me 1 second. Let me look. Um, Oh, I get what you mean to applaud everyone's efforts. Yeah. Well, and it is about working together. It is. It's about working together because like I always say, none of us are going to crack the case on our own. It just doesn't work that way. That only happens in the movies or the TV shows where they want you to think that there's one hero. But in real life there's many, many heroes that don't even want the recognition or anything like that because they know. I talked to someone in search and rescue about that very subject, you know, um, and so you deal with some really amazing people that put their hearts and their soul and everything into what they do, you know, um, and some people work really, really hard at it, right? It's easy to get up and tease people and make fun of, review their content or make fun of what they're doing. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just making sure that when I review things, I do it honestly and from where I'm sitting so you guys understand where I'm coming from. And I'm giving you valid reasons why, but I have no one saying, well, Lady Freedom, what about this? Right? It's all like, oh, how dare you talk about Mob Crew? I respect Silvers. I respect Mob. I did. Okay, when did I say that I didn't though? Because I'm not going to just sit up here the whole entire show if I'm reviewing something honestly, and I'm not going to but I'm not going to do that. Um it just it's not productive. It's not productive. So, oh, thank you. No, Doodle Mom, I didn't see the new video that Nerdy posted. I was checking over there because I knew he was going to do that thing with the uh, program that he built. So, no, I've not said a mean word about anybody, but I've been attacked by people who, um, think that I have or something. I don't know. It's very bizarre. All right, give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna put this up on the screen and share this with you really quick. Um, this is a call from Bobby. I do want people to listen. When I do stop, I'm gonna pull in the walkie-talkie audio, excuse me, from Silver's video, so that way you can hear it. For yourselves and make up your own minds, whether you think that the person on the walkie-talkie was Bobby or that it's somebody that sounds just like her. All right. Or, maybe you don't think it sounds like her at all. All right, here we go, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and play it. This is from a video that I made. Oh, give me a second. Okay, so January 7th of last year, or excuse me, of this year, excuse me. I did this phone call. And this is Bobby the neighbor, UA Crimson Tide, and Stephen Crabtree. Just so everybody knows.
The people next door, I told you that they didn't think, because it's an older couple, they've got cameras on the front corner and back corner of their house, and they told TBI and Sheriff's Office Department that their camera wasn't working. Well, they came back 2 weeks later and went around, and I told you they started the search all over again, literally from ground one. They knocked on their door and asked them, do you guys have cameras? And they said, yes, but they're not working. And the guy looked at them and said, that's okay. Can we see it anyway? And sure enough, their cameras actually were working, and there is a black blob with something thrown over the person's shoulders walking in between their houses. They carried something over their shoulders over that ditch. And I'm telling you right now, Katie Crawford being in the military, that woman is strong. I guarantee you she carried him over that and probably gave him to Chris standing on the other side. Because there was something that walked across in between those houses. But here's the thing that I wanted you to hear that he said to me when you were at your truck getting the phone and everything. I said, I don't understand the whole timestamp thing. And he said, yeah, that was really weird to me too. I don't know why it wasn't working. And I said, what do you mean you were surprised it wasn't working? And he said, well, it was working Saturday. And I'm like, oh. And he said, and it was working Tuesday. He said, and it's only 2 hours off. So it was working the day before and the day after, and it was only 2 hours off.
Yeah, see, that's the weird part, man. I'm telling you, it's because whoever this was had a zipper.
Oh, I know. I hear that. I guarantee you, it was like
that's why I was going to bring that up. If you had to leave, I had to go lock it. It's called a zipper. I can shut down every camera around me within probably about 150 to 200 feet.
Well, and that's why I called you as soon as I got home, because after he said I had to go to a doctor's appointment, but as soon as I got home.
Stated it from a news that was causing us any federal interference on the site over in Washington, Tennessee, and he had this campaign, and I was like, you can't technically leave me alone.
That's what I wondered too.
It's almost like a jam.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this then, since you know more about this than I do. Is it possible that if you do use those things to stop? Okay, that's what I was going to ask you, because adding on to this, the neighbor across the street from me, I had gone over to her house one day to do something, and I couldn't get them to answer the door. And finally, I called her, and I'm like, why are you not answering your door? And she said, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, girl, I'm over here pushing your ring button thing. She has a ring doorbell. Now, they had footage that they turned in, but there wasn't anything on it. Nothing on it. I said, said, why isn't your doorbell, your ring thing working? And she said, well, I don't know. It was working when this whole thing happened. Her camera just stopped working out of nowhere. The people beside them, same thing. Both of their ring cameras have gotten burned up. Can it do that?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm just wondering who else had that same problem.
Okay, guys. So in this first part, they're talking about camera jammers. Crabtree talks about how he knows everything about the frequencies. I don't know if he asked that little machine, hey, Twitch. I don't know if they were asking, his little machine, that talks back to him or what. But he's saying he's very knowledgeable about the subject. And, Bobby's like, oh, since you're so knowledgeable, again, the date for this call is 8/28/24. So she's been working with UA Crimson and Crabtree behind the scenes since then, right? But now all of a sudden she's on Mob and Silver's team. She's back to, helping out with finding Sebastian. It's very strange to me. Hey, Girl Mom, too. She says, I'm going to show you something I found from the search map. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I did look at the Caltopo map that was posted by SF Investigates. Spirit Box, thanks, KJ. I don't know what that weird shit is that he does. But he's all about frequencies. And, I'm like, oh, Lord. I wish and pray that they find Sebastian. Yeah, that's just the next step, right? It doesn't matter. But we're going to explore every option. I mean, that's what we do here. We explore every option. We talk about the theory all the way through. Getting it all the way through is a big part of this, right? Because we can't just say, well, I believe this is true, and if you don't, I'm mad at you. No, that's not how life works. That's not how productive conversations work, you know. Thank you, Cinderella. And I just don't believe everything until I can work it out in my brain, and I think this is very strange, especially if Bobby's involved in all of this.
I'm not just like this one.
You can just buy it.
If I turn this on, I can literally activate the system if I don't want to.
Okay, so is it possible then that if she had one of those, can you interrupt cameras or whatever for a period of time and then they turn back on?
That would be questionable. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't answer that one just because I know on the RF side, right, because it's a frequency thing, and it just like your cameras work off of, I think it's like 2.5 to 3.7 gigahertz. That's different. Depends on if it's pushing more power than the frequency allowed to be received by the said output device. And it's got like whether it has an RBS filter in it, whatever it has, it could right, yes.
Okay, but what I'm saying though is like if she had one of those, knowing that they had a camera at their house where the car was sitting, could she have interrupted like the time, or interrupted enough to not shut the camera off, but interrupted enough to stop the timer, the timestamp, and then it comes start working again? Because he said it was working the day before, and then out of nowhere it just starts working again, and it was only stopped for 2 hours. The timestamp is only 2 hours off.
I would say yes. I would say it has to be. I hate to say anything. I can look into it.
I guess I'm just saying, like, is it possible for that? I mean, that just seems to be totally not random, considering what happened.
My thing is here's my thing on all this. The fact that I heard these people for all fucking years say what you said, and I'm like, dude, he's a little bit different. I'll give him that. Like, you can tell he's kind of agitated with everything. He just don't.
Well, because we're just so fed up with it. I mean, we just keep getting, and like he said, his phone, he just kept getting phone calls. And of course, he's frustrated because, like he told me, he said, I even started telling the detectives what I saw, and they argued with me and basically tried to convince me that what I saw was not right. I said, they did the same thing to me. I told your wife that. And he said, I know, she's so frustrated too. It's like no matter what we tell them and no matter what we're seeing, they don't want to hear it. We don't know what we don't know.
I think that, I don't know, I'm interested to see what Chris just texted me. He said he's doing something with the live show and everything. So, I'm interested to see.
He's putting it together. He was putting it together after when I called him after you were doing the drone footage, and I had called him as soon as I got home to tell him what you and I had discovered. And it was,
She drives with me. I'm confused now. So she drives with me.
What? No, she has a black Chevy SUV, like she calls Black Beauty.
Right. And now they're talking about Bullhorn Betty, and Bobby's saying, all the work that we've done. So she's working both sides, guys. I mean, and there's nothing wrong per se with her doing that. It just doesn't make me believe her so much. If any grounds were disturbed, there would be track marks on the ground, unless shovels were used. Also, fresh dirt on grass, unless they use something to cover the grass. Hey, CJC, I agree. And thank you so much, Girl Mom, too. Or also, I wanted to say that as well. Remember the bone sticking out of the old graveyard close to where CP was working? Could CP have put his body there? Is why the bone was sticking out. Quite possibly. I mean, even though Chris was supposed to have been in Memphis, that doesn't mean that he didn't leave out at any point. Shadow says, I thought the cemetery footage was from a house bordering the cemetery and that the person that was on the walkie-talkie was them. No, because then that wouldn't be an accurate test, right? They would have had to have used the same camera from the person that sent it to Mob, right? So for it to be an accurate and true test of what happened that night in the cemetery, it would have had to come from the house that gave Mob Crew that footage originally, if that makes sense, Shadow. Because I was wondering that as well. Because all of the new houses are built up around there too. So I don't know how there could still be a clear shot straight through to the cemetery. But people was saying, I remember remains being found. It was a big thing, but they were animal, I think. But wasn't there another woman's bones found near the construction site? Yeah. Thank you, Women's Warrior. Thank you very much. These people across the street from the feet gave them the video of BHB, so they suck as well, in my opinion. Oh no, Gina, I know. Oh my goodness. Wouldn't there be a security at night or possible security guards walking the grounds? I would think that there would be, since it's right there, but nobody has really talked too much about that, KJ Max says, to be fair, I would think a stink to have the foot as a neighbor. Yeah, I'd be stressed with his bothered temper and erupting when I drive in and out of the neighborhood. I can see a little fence sitting happening. Yeah, definitely. Well, I think, that's a big part of it, right? Because obviously she was threatened. They also went after her with SF. But Crabtree and SF are besties too. So, yeah. Hey, Laverna, good to see ya. There was 2 houses that gave video. Yeah, so then they would have had to do it from both houses to make it a true test. So that makes me think a little bit differently if that's true too, Yeah, so the thank you, Girl Mom. And so the search map, can I share it? Is that okay if I share it? Give me 1 second. I'll let you answer. I'm just gonna go ahead and play this next little part here.
But where she said she was back in Florida today. But she wasn't at her house, and she didn't have Delilah, like her little dog. with her. So.
Well, that's not. I know that she drives. I do know because I've seen it. The dark Chevrolet Equinox.
Yeah, that black. Yeah, that's the black one that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've seen that one come through her when she first came in the first time. But I'm just wondering because everybody knows that's what she drives. Is it possible that she rented a car? Because I'm telling you, when we were out there talking, there was a white GMC Terrain, older model GMC Terrain, that drove up, down, and around. And I was like, where's the car going? Because it didn't recognize that. I've never seen that one before. But we're getting so much traffic now again between her and this reward. We got all kinds of people coming through here again.
I was sitting there and after you had left, Dick was sitting out there and talking to him for a minute. And there's like 4 people in here on the road that was just turned around.
Yeah, they're just coming through here to see what's going on. Like, okay, great. Thanks. Run through, please. Go away.
The gate at the front put tickets.
No kidding. I'm like, at what point do we need to, like, did y'all please leave us alone? Just leave us alone. I'm just so done with all this crap. I think that's the thing is a lot of people are just done with all this.
Well, I'm not back there too. I didn't even catch you off guard. You live there, and I'm like, no, I'm not. So anybody's going to know if she's back in the little area. Bobby, no.
Well, I got home, like I said, and I jumped in the shower really quick because I had this appointment and I was soaking wet with sweat out there talking to you guys. And then it was hot. It was like stupid hot. And then I got on the phone with Chris and we were talking for a little bit. And then my kids were all home and we were doing all that kind of stuff. I had not been outside. So if she came back through here with her car, I didn't see that. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. But who is the other person? Who else is on the phone with me? Who is this? That's Chris.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to know that?
Yeah.
How? Why?
Because she's not one of the bad ones.
No, I know, but like you saying that, like, yeah, I'm like supposed to know that. How?
You don't TikTok. You watch TikTok, right?
I don't. That's what I told you. I told you I don't have TikTok. I have to look you up and find you. Well, I was like,
you don't YouTube, I forget.
I do watch YouTube.
I'm on YouTube. I don't have my own channel on YouTube. I'm not on like. I just like.
You need to.
Shoot, nah.
You just like stalk people and like know if their dogs are with them and like know what car they drive and like if they were home that day and like, you know, you don't have a channel, but you stalk people and you're weird. Yeah, guys. So this is who we're dealing with, right? That was on the other side of the walkie-talkie, in my opinion, that was helping with this test. KJ Max says Crabtree is a useful tool. I doubt that there are true friends or that they would not have enabled, or that they would not have enabled him while he was destroyed his livelihood with the rolled up bill on his searches. Good friends tell you how it is. I agree with that 100%, KJ Mac. And that's why they choose people like that who have dependency issues, right? Because they'll do a lot for a little bit of money, you know? And yeah, Gina, she was on the phone with Chris, right? So she's buddies with Chris Proudfoot. So wouldn't it make sense if they're just giving these creators a distraction to do something that isn't true? Right? So that's why I'm wondering. Yeah, flip flop floozy. Thank you, Valley Gal. That is a good one. People have to open their eyes. Bobby, Yada, TL, and JS all have spoke to CP, in my opinion. Exactly, Gina. And you know, that's one thing I won't do it. I just won't. Because I've already heard enough from him. You know, that's my thing. Thanks, Pat. Yeah, definitely Bobby's voice, in my opinion. If we just go back and listen, and I'm trying to get a good example that I can show you guys. I wonder if the shower curtain that was found near the cemetery was ever collected. That could have been an important piece of evidence for DNA. I agree with that too. And that's the thing, you know, that I was talking with Aaron about is the mattress pad, and you know, they wouldn't take it. You know, so that was upsetting to everybody involved, you know. That's right, it's slowly in the bushes. Come on out. Hey, Jude. Flip flop Lucy. Smiley too. I'm not sure what the hell her stance is. I don't know. I don't know if Smiley has talked about the lights or I don't think she's talked about the lights. Has she at all? I'm wondering. That made me think of that. Um, Sam, I'd like to know her perspective on it. You know, that's right. Blessed in Florida says you are who you surround yourself with, and right, and Bobby's liking to get her, nose into everybody's business, but that's just kind of who she is, right? I mean, that's who she was when we were introduced to Bobby. Was she was the nosy neighbor? She was the, brave one that would come out and talk. But she knows everything about everybody in that neighborhood, except for she didn't bother to get to know Chris or Katie, right? They just talked behind their back a lot and, didn't really like them, that sort of thing. That's right. He's a manipulator and he's going to tell you anything that you want to hear. And then he has UA Crimson Tide and Crabtree as his flying monkeys. And these are the people that we're supposed to be trusting on this, right? There's nothing more funny to them would to see us in a wild goose chase, everybody in a tizzy, everybody fighting amongst each other because of this, footage that they're giving out. That would be something that history repeating itself. It's not like it's like, oh my gosh, Lady Freedom, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm considering the source, right? Well, and CP and KP are using these people to find out any info they can to stay ahead. That's true too. And they wouldn't be doing that if they didn't have guilty knowledge, girl mom. So that's such a good point. Um, Yeah, a snake. Exactly. Exactly. And some of the things that she says, um, you know, just solidify that, right? Well, between you and I don't want Bullhorn Betty in the neighborhood and I don't want awareness for Sebastian. I don't want his flyer up. Hey Scranton. So, okay, so I wanted to show you guys this really quick. That girl mom had sent me over. I want to make sure I get it. Hold on. Let me download it here. Sorry, I didn't download it. It was wanting to. Okay. Oh, good. I can do that. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. All right. Can I move it? Okay, there we go. All righty. And then let me see if you guys can see this. Just bear with me. Oh. Hold on. I got too much going on. Sorry about that. All right. There we go. I don't know where that's coming from. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, sorry guys. I don't know why it's playing this in the background. Hold on. Sorry, give me 1 second. I don't know what button I pressed or if I have I tried to see if I had an extra window open. Um, and I can't find where I do. Okay, I have no idea. Can you guys hear that in the background? Because it is playing in the background, and I can't get it to stop playing in the background, and I can hear it, but I don't know if you guys can hear it. Oh, yeah, these cases are very hard, Hey Jude, especially when you get involved, um, you know, with, talking to family members and that sort of thing. Um, there we go, I found it. Goodness sakes, that was weird. It just pulled up a whole 'nother window that I don't even know how it pulled that up. Um, okay, give me 1 second to regroup this situation here. And just bear with me. And then we also have another creator on TikTok who's alleging that Sebastian's remains were found in April and they are still doing testing or something strange like that. I just wanted to point that out. So there's a lot of different theories floating around right now. Just bear with me. I don't know why this is gone. It's somewhere in here. All right, and then I'll pull up that search map that Girl Mom sent over. I apologize for getting mixed up here. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, let me just share the screen here.
Am I supposed to know that? Yeah. How? Why? Because she's not being the bad one. No, I know, but like you saying that, like, yeah, I'm like supposed to know that. How? You don't TikTok. You watch TikTok, right? I don't. That's what I told you. I told you I don't have TikTok. I have to look you up and find you. Damn it. Well, I was like, you don't YouTube, I forget. I do watch YouTube.
I'm on YouTube. I don't have my own channel on YouTube. I'm not on like. I just like.
You need to.
Shoot, no. I'll stick to.
Do you do TikTok as well? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I was when Riley was Riley Strain was missing. I was undercover in the homeless encampments.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, I mean.
You should hear her fucking story. Oh, that's a little. That's like super creepy, man. No, she got balls and shit. You think you know her just sitting there for yes. She got some balls. Yeah, but the thing, there's a big difference between vocalizing things, saying things, versus physically doing things. Because physically doing it and being out in the field doing it is like horrible. But I think Betty has
mental like she has a mental disorder balls. Like
she's a narcissist. She's a psychopathic narcissist. She wants everybody to feel sorry for her because she came out here and worked her butt off. I'm gonna tell you something. Our neighborhood, I personally called the police on her. Personally myself. And several of the other neighbors around here were throwing a fit about her just nonchalantly driving through, taking videos, and then getting out of her car and walking around her neighborhood without asking a single person, stapling these papers, the flyers to the poll, which it's great. I'm glad that you're trying to put the word out, but could you have asked first? And then ironically, a big storm comes through and literally blows every one of them off.
Well, here's the problem. It's one thing to do it for general somebody that cares. It's like, Francie and I went out there and posted all this shit, but she was up there doing it. I wouldn't post it out there while I'm searching.
I don't know that that's doing anything. I just don't see how posting flyers in their neighborhood.
Yeah, she did that. She did that for like it wasn't for she did that to harass them. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah,
All right, so Bobby the neighbor says that she doesn't want any posters up of Sebastian. She's sick of it. Right? And granted, she didn't know that she was being recorded, just so everybody knows that too. But she's very creepy. She's very creepy. She wanted to know what my last name was. Right? She was in the hate channels. What's her last name? I want to find her so I can see if she's home and what time she's home and if she's got her dog with her. What a weirdo, you know? I think it's a brilliant idea to put flyers in the neighborhood. That's the last place he was seen, right? That's the last place he was in the neighborhood, whether they like it or not, right? And then, some people don't think that he made it home, you know? So, I mean, and that's the thing, like, she's saying these things to them and she's working with them and calling Chris and all of this stuff, but then she's over at the vigils with Seth. Oh, Seth. Oh, hey, Terry Lynn, we went to school together. Hey, it's weird, right? So you got a two-faced person, and I don't like that type of a person, right? Because you can't trust that type of a person. That's like having a friend that's willing to gossip about you behind your back. And nobody likes that. Gina says, I saw UA in a security at the court, and she was in such a hurry to get to the courtroom. Oh my goodness. They sent her back to her car to put her big ass purse away. Oh my goodness. I mean, and she's very much on substances, in my opinion. She just is, right? UA, that is, not Bobby. I don't think Bobby's on substances, but who knows? She could be, doing whatever. I don't know. But in my opinion, I don't think she is. UA is another story. She comes along with a lot of baggage and a big ass purse.
Harassment and just to say, so
A middle finger, like, hey, try and stop me.
Dude, what she's doing right now is a middle finger where she's using whoever's family.
Yes.
She's using something like that. And I said that to Tim Bailey, and I said, you just gonna let this happen? Like, she's literally making y'all look stupid.
That's what bothers me is, and that's why I called you earlier to be like, I don't agree with how law enforcement handled this in the very beginning.
When I went up there earlier, though, when I was on the phone with you and I went to sheriff's department, I was talking to them. They said what you said. They said, look, man, there's not much we can do unless she specifically mentioned and pulled on. And as far as the neighborhood, he's like, we can put one of those security cameras in. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's not going to stop people from coming in there.
No, and they're not going to do it. And I'm really kind of frustrated because even when I called the sheriff's department last night on this, was it last night? Night before last. Not before last. When we had this weird black truck come through the neighborhood, it was completely blacked out, which really creeped me out. When the deputy, not the deputy, the officer came up and talked to me, and I was telling him what was happening. Of course, he found a person, and they claimed to have car issues, which doesn't make any sense if you're going to be completely blacked out. Like, that's weird. But anyway, so we were talking, and I told him, I said, I feel like nobody cares about us. It's all about protecting the people who are doing this. Like, I'm all for, your amendment to the Constitution. I'm 100% for those. We have to have our constitutional rights. But at what point do we as families who are trying to live a private life that didn't ask for this, where do we get protection? None. There is zero. Zilch. So he said, you need to talk to your
Okay, but you want protection from being a lying little rat. Thank you, Siebert. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's like, she wants to insert herself in all of this business, but doesn't want to be held accountable for any of the things she's doing, right? And then fuck Sebastian. Sorry, not sorry, right? It's all about me. Who cares about Sebastian? That's what she's saying here. That's exactly what she's saying here. You know? So she is little Miss Sharon, and oh, well, where's my protection? Well, you're calling the police on somebody that's not doing anything unlawful, so you're not going to get protection. Protection from what? The fact that you don't want Sebastian's flyer put up in your neighborhood? Right? You want to live a private life, but yet you're doing all of this shit behind the scenes? Oh, and Brenda Sue, just so you know, this audio, I put this out at the beginning of this year, 11 months ago. Right? January 7th, 2025. We're just reviewing it again today because I believe that the person on the other end of the walkie-talkie is Bobby the neighbor. And I just want everybody to know that she's been a flip-flop floozy. So, we're not talking about Mob Crew right now. We're talking about Bobby the neighbor. So, I don't know where that came from out of the blue, but we're not going to go back to that subject again and rile everybody up. Thank you.
Commissioner, and see if there's anything that they can do to change things or add things or something.
Hey,
to help
Bobby,
protect you guys.
here's a suggestion. Why don't y'all do, like, put up a sign, just like this neighborhood is under video surveillance. You don't have to actually put it under video surveillance, but just, like, put up a sign.
Well, like the dude said, that neighbor that, well, I won't say this person, but, he said put one of those things in. I think that was genius. A play reading.
But it still goes back to what good is it going to do?
Well, here's the thing. If nobody has to know that it's not like that it's just a bluff. But if people think that they're on camera,
They may not.
if they think they're on camera, they're going to drive,
Yeah, but I didn't think about that way. It's not necessarily what they know that happens to them. It's the fact that you're being recorded.
Yeah, they
really want to be recorded doing whatever you're doing.
Exactly. And
or if you ask Betty Bullhorn, she'll tell you, I can do whatever I want to. I'm within my constitutional right because she's a genius and she knows the law better than anybody.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I can't stand that woman. She is an idiot.
She's super alt-right.
She what?
Yes.
Super alt-right.
Yeah, alternative right. Yes, she is, Stephen.
What does that mean?
Like crazy far right.
Yeah, far right. But then there's there's MAGA occultists, what I call it. And then you've got the far left, which is like many occultists, what you call them. And then you've got your normal Democrats and Republicans. You know what I mean?
Oh, I never heard of all that. That's like genders. How many genders do you have? How many sides of politicians? I'm a conservative patriot. What does that make me? I'm not afraid to ask. I'm like, I like my guns. I like the ability to talk. I don't want government control. Yeah, I do want police because I know that they do help protect us, and I don't feel like they get enough pay. But I don't know how this is being used. She's using the law on her favor, and I think she's gone. So, but I also I think that she's using that far right tactic to make everybody think that she's this good person, and I really think that's fake. I think it's fake to get people to think she's this big American supporter of, like you said, MAGA, blah, 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 whatever. Well, I'm a MAGA supporter. I want to make America great again. I want that more than anything in the world. However, we need some laws to protect us. I just feel like it's almost a point where it's protecting the public more than it's protecting us. And I've called my commissioner twice, and he has still yet to call me back. So I'm wondering if, is she causing such a scene legally that now nobody within the government in Sumner County wants to mess with anything to do with this case because she's just threatened everybody?
I think that's part of it. I think that one of the other things is that she is kind of trying to intimidate everyone into like backing away from the case. Like saying she's gonna dig into Craddock's, like deep dive into all of Craddock's stuff. She's gonna deep dive in the sheriff's department, and she's trying to use that to intimidate people to not not investigate her, Tony, and all them. Because I think they're money laundering. I'll just be honest. I think they're money laundering.
Oh, yeah. Was she? I think. Oh, you mean Sumner County or her?
No, not Sumner County. Not Sumner County. Them, like Tony Mathis, Seth, Betty.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be honest with you, and I think that.
Stephen, you didn't sign the contract.
You're not doing it for the wrong reason. You're doing it for the right reason. So the people who are doing it for the right reason are typically not going to make as much money because you're doing it the right way and not. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I think I was used as a pawn, and I don't know how you guys feel about. Well, I shouldn't mention any.
JLR.
Okay.
I'll say it for you.
I was going to be nice. I'm trying to be nice, but I think he used me as a pawn.
Okay, well, he wasn't the one that used you as a pawn, so I hope you did apologize for that one, Miss Bobby, because they're recording they're recording this phone conversation without your knowledge. At least JLR had you come up on the panel and was transparent with you and had you up there like any of us would to interview you. These people are the snakes and the underhanded ones, and you're just, singing like a canary. Right? Just a little stool pigeon. I mean, nasty, nasty, nasty. And this is who we're supposed to be trusting at this moment. Not so fast for me. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't say it. You said it.
No, I said it.
Yeah.
I'll own it.
I truly believe that he used me as a pawn. And then when it came down to it, and I sent him a message, and I told him what happened and how I was treated, he pretty much just said people are crazy. That's all he said. I even sent him the video of the guys that were attacking me and calling me all kinds of names and all this crap, and said, "Wow, that's awfully nice of them." And never said a word, never him nothing. He didn't come to my defense, never said a word. And I thought, oh, so basically I was your pawn. And it didn't even dawn on me at the very beginning when he very first asked me if I would go on his live with him and if he could use my name. And of course, my name is Bobby, but I had it on Facebook as Mrs. Bobby because having a unisex name, a lot of people don't realize the spelling is different for male versus female. So a lot of people think I'm a man. And it's a picture, my profile picture is a picture of me and my husband together. So a lot of people that don't know me, well, not sure which one's Bobby and which one's not, whatever. And so I had Mrs. Well, it didn't dawn on me when he asked me, it's like, well, can I just use your name as Mrs. Bobby? I think he did that on purpose so people could stalk me on Facebook. Because I've had people trying to send me a friend request to connect with me on Facebook. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. And no, I'm not.
I'm not taking up a JLR here. I really ain't. Because I've been through the ringer with him. But, it took him a while to apologize to me, to be honest. I think it comes, man. I think he's just something's wrong. I think that he's off. Like, he doesn't have...
If you sue the people that he sued and sue the Eiffel Tower, I mean, what do you expect?
I do not trust him as far as he could pick up a rock or a boulder and throw it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I think the man's kind of like bullhorn in a sense. There's something wrong.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, again, it goes back to about money and clicks.
You give me another rock, so help me God, and you cost me $3,000.
He's yelling at the dog.
I was gonna say what?
Yeah, not that rock. He's not talking about the rock that you were talking about.
a rock, and he's yelling about it. I'm like, I didn't say I was eating it. I was standing with it. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That was perfect timing.
I knew what was going on in your head, Bobby. You were like, "What the heck is he talking about? I didn't eat a rock. How did I cost you $3,000?"
Yeah, which totally threw me off. Okay, that was hysterical.
My dad decided to eat rocks and bones and had to have his damn stomach pumped.
Oh yeah, that's when you want to strangle the. Yeah, I get it. Well, I know the night that he asked me to be on that live, and I had told him that I was very nervous about it, and I even asked him if he could do the video without my face and voice. I mean, just my voice and not my face or anything. And he was just like, "Well, we can do it that way." But I just really think that the community needs to hear from a neighbor and needs to put a face to a name and all that, and kind of try to convince me to get out there. And I just feel like, regardless of what you're doing, if what you just did, well, first of all, when he told me when we were on the live, he said, "You've got over 2,000 people on here," and of course I panicked. I'm like, "Oh my God, that was not at all what I wanted to happen." Like that, it just blew my mind. But and then afterwards, when I got attacked and all this stuff came out and whatever, I just felt like, if you're going to set that situation up and what you did caused that person to be mistreated, you created that. So the least you could do is come back and do another live or another video or something to try to counteract that and explain that, this person was nice enough to do this to you. The least you can do is counteract that with, "Y'all got this all wrong." And it made me mad that he did not even one time defend me. Not one time. Like, you created this, and the least you could do is defend me. But he didn't.
Yeah.
Who cared less?
With creators, I've learned that you cannot expect that they're going to look out for their interests, and that's it. And if it doesn't benefit them to go out and like die on a hill for you, so to speak, then they're not going to do it.
That's true.
Unless it's going to generate like another, revenue for them.
Well, and certain, like you said, certain people, I have learned to realize that they are all about the money and the clicks. And then there's others that really are trying to get information out there and get, like you said, the number, whatever out there. But yeah, I just had to be really careful about who I talk to, who I trust. That's why when Stephen first mentioned this mock crew guy, and I was like, I'm not doing that again. But then when I saw the video, I was like, wow, he's really putting this together and really making sense. He actually made me question some where the lights were going. So when we got to talk to the neighbor, it was like, oh, and of course Chris was so excited when I called him afterwards, because he was like basically me confirming what he was suspecting, and he was like, oh, he was so excited, and like, oh my God, this is awesome, I can't believe this is, so he was excited that what he put together actually worked. So that was the confirmation he was enjoying as well. Now, Stephen, let me ask you this. When you said there's no way that somebody could carry somebody over that ditch, I mean, it is deep and it's wide. I've walked over it 1,000 times myself. My sister used to live behind it, on the other side over there. I've walked over that ditch myself 1,000 times. I physically could not have carried somebody. But don't you think that if she was in the military and went through the training that she went through, I'm hearing that she's strong as an ox and very smart. Katie, yes.
What do you think? What do you think happened though that would have made her not call? Like, if it's not like an accident, if an accident happened, I think she's,
No, I think she did it on purpose. I think she drugged him, and either drugged him to the point of knocking him. Because the question is how they, after we know about what happened with the whole light thing, and now we've got it confirmed for a fact where the lights went. But I know that my kids were over in the construction area, and let me rephrase this before anybody assumes anything. My kids were not standing next to the dogs when they jumped in the water. They were at the top of the hill on top of the dirt mound and could see the dogs from where they were standing, but they were not walking with them. They were over there in the property with them. The dogs jumped into the pond. The handler had to pick up and drag the dogs out of the water because it's like quicksand. And when he came back out of the water and they walked back up to the back of the property where our house meets the construction area, my kids were out there and asked, what happened? And the handler said he jumped in the water. And my kids were like, what do you mean? Why did he jump in the water? Well, not only did he tell my kids that, but he told my neighbor down the street the exact same thing when they came door to door asking for video footage and do you mind if we search your property? Her husband asked him, the dog was right there. Her husband asked, did you guys get any hits? And the guy said the exact same thing.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
So here's my thing is did you hear that Seth was allegedly missing from the jail for 2 hours?
The first thing I heard was there's no account of him being at work between the hours of 2 and 5. Then my neighbor down the street, who I was just talking about, her family, she's got family and friends that work at the jail. Her granddaughter works at the jail. She got it confirmed that there is no account of him being at work between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So he was definitely not there. He was down here in the car. That's where I'm going. That's my opinion.
So do you think they're all in on it then?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
All three of them?
Absolutely. I think so, yes. I think that Katie was at home, and when Monday morning, when my neighbor that's directly across the street from their house, who Stephen actually saw today, when she called me that Monday morning around 8 o'clock asking me if I had heard what was going on, of course, at that point in time, I literally just got up and I didn't know what was going on. Her story to me by Katie was that Katie they'd gotten back from Texas Roadhouse and Sebastian took the trash out, and then she was sitting on the couch watching TV, and Sebastian was in his room.
Okay.
Sebastian was in his room and supposedly supposed to be getting ready for bed, whatever. Well, Katie was on a couch, and I think it was about 10:30 or so, she heard a thunk and yelled across the house, Sebastian, what are you doing? He's like, nothing, Mom, everything's fine, go to bed. So she goes in the kitchen, she does whatever she does, and then she goes to bed, and everything is done. Never one time did she ever mention being on the phone with Chris or doing schoolwork or anything like that. None of that ever happened until after she did that first YouTube live with that one person, that lady.
Yeah.
So the question was, when I called my neighbor back and I asked her, I said, did you know anything about that phone call? She said, no. She never said anything to me about being on the phone with him. So then I talked to another friend of mine who lives down the street from me, who was actually at the command post. And then my neighbor, her granddaughter, is in the EMS service, and she was there at the command post because they had EMS there in case for the first week, just in case they happened to find him injured or stuck somewhere or whatever. And she was at the command post, and she said that they got a ping on his phone in Memphis at the RV. And she said, yeah, but it never moved. So the idea is he left his phone sitting in the RV so that he could have an air quotes alibi, and when they pinged his phone, it would be up there. Well, he was here. I have no doubt in my mind he was in that car with Seth. Chris got out of the car and walked to the house, or called Katie and told her to bring him out. Now, I don't know if he was already dead or she just drugged him, but the question I have is, if she just drugged him and didn't overdose him, but just drugged him because he took sleeping medicine.
Right.
So, I mean, if you take enough of that, it completely knocks you out. It could kill you. I mean, obviously you could overdose on that and it could kill you. So, did she overdose him and kill him, or did she just knock him out? And then, did they take him to the retention pond over in the construction area and drown him? My son accidentally got into that retention pond just a couple weeks ago with his four-wheeler, and he literally had to pull it out with his teeth because he said it was like butt sand, and you could hear it suction when he pulled the four-wheeler out of it. You could hear the suction of it. So if somebody got into that, it would not have been easy for him to get out. So who's to say they didn't drown him in there and then push him down in there or dump water or dig him into that? You know what I mean? And
right.
then it was raining, and it rained for 2 or 3 days after that.
If anything,
Okay, so it rained for 2 or 3 days after that. We do know that that is true, right? Because they were worried about that, and that had been mentioned by Ken Weiner as well. Like, the weather's getting bad. It's going to start raining. It's colder. We need to find him, right? That sort of thing. So, and thank you, Jane, for being here. I appreciate you coming in. Like I said, guys, and I hate to keep repeating myself, but anytime you guys ask me to take a look at something, I'm going to give you my honest opinion about it. I'm not going to, stick with the same original opinion. Sometimes I might have an initial reaction that when I watch back, like, especially if something is shocking, right? And I would say that Sebastian being put in the cemetery, right, and have been there the whole time is very shocking, right? It's something that we have to wrap our minds around and think about. And I'm just asking that we think about it logically and have a positive as possible. I shouldn't probably have used that word, but as productive as possible of a conversation where we can come to some sort of theory that actually works out, right? Because sometimes a theory might work only up until a certain point. And in that regard, when that happens, then, it's something to knock off the list of possibilities or probabilities. So, yeah, KJ, she's just talking about how so she thinks that Seth and Chris were both involved in this. Even though at this point, I'm pretty sure, now I could be wrong on this too, but I'm pretty sure on 8/28 of 24, we already had Seth's time cards, and I'm pretty sure Bullhorn Betty had already released that information. Now, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But is it in a conflict of interest to stay in that house? Is it haunted or something? I don't know, because I don't think they have any contracts with Crabtree, if that's who you're talking about, Krista. Good to see you. Yeah, well, that's the thing. She didn't know she was being recorded, Chuchi. She really didn't, Hey, Kathy. OMG, she's over the freaking place. I know she is. Hey, Detroit. No, for sure. She's all over. It's like, you know, pick a side or pick a theory, but she was telling everybody how bad Chris was publicly, and then behind the scenes, not so much. Yeah, they started a GoFundMe for him, Tina. So as far as I knew, there wasn't a lot of options for him, and I still don't know if that's true. I just know his truck was there when we passed by, right? And it wasn't like super early in the morning, it was mid-morning, 10:30, somewhere around there, 11. I'd have to go back to the video to be positive. Aw, sorry, Lori. I know, and this is just tough. This whole situation is very tough, right? And I appreciate those who asked me to take a look at this. But I got to be honest. Yeah, possibilities, look at them all and then try to poke holes in them. Yeah, I mean, or just work it all out. Like, that's my problem just with the 20 minutes later, the different vehicles. Why would they go someplace else, switch Sebastian with somebody, and then they go back to the grave? That doesn't make much sense, because then they're going back to where they came from, essentially, not exactly, I guess, but um Yeah, I mean, I think everybody should, it would be awesome if we all worked together. Girl Mom 2 earlier said about, the egos aside and stuff like that. And that's a lot of it. That's a lot of it. Dealing with people that are like, okay, well, we're gonna take this upon ourselves and act like we came up with it. That's crazy to me too, though. Because we all should just work together, especially when we all have a common goal. I think there's everybody. I think even on the hate side, people want Sebastian found, right? It's been excruciating for a lot of people, but I always have to point back to what Seth is going through because I, in my opinion, don't think that he had anything to do with Sebastian's disappearance, and I think he's just as dumbfounded as we are with what could have happened to him. Otherwise, he would be found. You know. Kathy says, just wondering if Sebastian is found in a river, lake, or stream. Seth said he wouldn't go in dirty water and sounded like he would only go in the swimming pool as that was cleaned, so the Foots would be responsible. I mean, then they would have to figure out who is responsible, Kathy, for sure. And I think no matter what, once they find Sebastian, we'll find out what happened to him. Of course, Lori, of course. The people who can accept that Seth was at work in jail under cameras and still run with him being involved that night. I cannot work with that brain type. I know. Well, I can't continue to try to like go back and forth about that either, right? Because like I said, I'm open to debating, well, what makes you think that, Seth could have gotten off a camera? I mean, he would have had to have somebody helping him there or punching the clock, but even still, he would have had to gotten out of the building at some point. And it's just not again, it just doesn't work through. The neighbors should have spoke out in the beginning. See, and that's okay. So that is another thing that I was trying to convey as well. So thanks, Gina. I appreciate that. The neighbors should have spoke out in the beginning. We wouldn't be here now. So too bad if they're tired, in my opinion. And that's the problem too. It's like, everybody wanted to come say something, but they were doing it mostly online, and we see that a lot. But that's understandable in some regard, because of course, if people are getting threatened, I just want to point to Devlin's case. No one was being threatened during the search. All the searches that have happened, I've never once heard that somebody was threatened. Never. So why is it being done here? Because somebody knows something, right? Somebody's cameras have had to have something on them. And I'm not disputing that the lights, I'm not saying for 1 minute that, mob did something and created these lights, and this is not that the lights weren't in the graveyard, because obviously you can see them from the camera. But there are some questions, like I said, that they would go back to that spot. Why? And then 20 minutes later, that means that somebody was waiting 10 minutes down the road. And, we talk about stop 30. They could have been waiting down over there. Sure. And that would have made up for a 20-minute time frame. But then again, I have to think about the fact that they're going back to the scene of the crime, essentially, or near the scene of the crime. And I will say what Holly said last night is it doesn't seem like they would even think to do this properly for Sebastian, unfortunately. Girl Mom 2 says, I think FBI has been in charge of this case for a long time, and that's why Sumner County TBI have been so quiet, in my opinion. And that could be very well true, Girl Mom. And also, that reminds me too, sorry it's taken me so long. I opened up another window and messed up there. But give me 1 second and I will pull this up. Yeah, it's that one. Okay. And you can see right here the trail camera, the cell camera. This is from one of the maps. And of course, it's, heavily searched. Everything has been heavily searched. But this would be over by that area, by the church, by the Mason Lodge, and all of that, the command center also, or Shackle Island Fire Station, and then also the cemetery is in this vicinity And I'm not good with the SAR maps and things like that. So just so you guys know, but thank you, Girl Mom 2, for letting me share that and sending it over. And, we know that there's little spots that actually mark different occurrences and things that happen on the SAR map. So, and it's just an unfortunate thing because, yeah, we should have had this stuff a long time ago. I think that at this point, that was one of my bigger questions as well. Oops, sorry, Django's in there barking. But that was one of my bigger issues, In my opinion is he sure wouldn't get in there himself right now, no matter what. He was barefoot, and I believe they buried phones, evidence, and where person was buried day 2. Just my opinion. Okay, yeah. So you're thinking that that they buried some items, some evidentiary items. So that very well could be. And we did talk a little bit about that last night. Again, I just don't know why they would go back right to that cemetery. Oh, Detroit, it was it was around or about 8/28/24. So last year. Chuchi. Right? She's fast, I mean, working in the jail is the best alibi imaginable. Exactly. Hey, Jude, that's my thing, that's my problem. IML, good to see you, says, how did they dig the hole? Were they in for days before digging with the shovel or a machine to dig the hole? Well, and something was going on the morning of the 25th, Hey, Cuckoo. So that's the problem. And yes, the Secret Service was involved. Yes. And the first 7 days, guys, they had multiple agencies assisting. Thank you. Yeah, no, girl mom too. Thank you. I know, and I'm wondering what the cell camera would be as well, because when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, so is it evidence that they've collected from someone's cell phone? I think it was pre-planned, absolutely pre-planned. Yeah, Tina, for sure. Thank you, Poppy Love. Thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you, Lady Freedom. I appreciate all you do. Well, thank you, Poppy. And I appreciate everything everybody does. I mean, I wouldn't be as in the know about what's going on if people didn't send me things. You know what I mean? Because I can't just come up with all of this on my own, and there's not enough time in the day. To even watch people that I really enjoy watching, like I used to when I was just a viewer. But as a creator, it's like I have to go over this footage. I have to add my own, transformative qualities to a lot of it. So in the video, in the video with Nancy Grace, did anyone notice Nasty Foot's black eye and black blue under right eye? Those bite marks on his arm. Sebastian had to have fought with him and others, in my opinion. Well, and yeah, that was one thing that Spirit Seeker Squad, she pointed that out, that there were scratches on, Mr. Proudfoot. And, you guys probably won't be able to see them because, it's small. But I have that on the investigation board for Sebastian that I made as a background, and if I could get my big head out of the way, I'll get that. But yeah, I mean, this is the picture in the background where it's circled, and that's from Mandy at Spirit Seeker Squad. I mean, she pays attention to detail now. I think it was the fire happened at the other dump was to burn lots of evidence. I was thinking about that too, Tina. I remember that absolutely. You're welcome, Detroit. I know it's weird, right? And KP did nothing to help him because didn't want him anyway, in my opinion, all pre-planned. Yeah, I think that something happened where they either took Sebastian somewhere or something worse happened. Oh, gotcha. Hey Jude. Okay, so Hey Jude says a cell camera links to a phone while a trail cam uses SD cards. So that's what I'm thinking too, that maybe it was some evidence that was on someone's phone rather than a trail cam. Thank you. I was thinking about, I didn't know how trail cams work, to be honest. I didn't know they used an SD card, you know? So, or was it something, or maybe what was it something where that it was the trail cam was linked to the cell phone where you could see it like all the time and it was linked up? Girl mom, I wonder. There was trail cams all around his home. Wow. Wow, that's interesting, girl mom. I didn't know. Thank you, Hey Jude. She says I Googled it. My husband's trail cam gives him alerts in real time and it goes straight to his phone. Thank you, Detroit. Okay, so that could be why. Maybe it was the trail cam location and then the person's phone who it was going to. I wonder. Hey, Ann Brock. Google it, y'all. That's so funny. Yeah, that map is interesting. That map is really, really interesting. Okay, here, guys, and thank you so much, girl mom. And here, I'm gonna go ahead and play this out again.
I don't think Seth and I don't think there's any that all three of them could be involved, because I don't think that there's any way that they would let Seth profit the way anybody would let Seth profit the way he has from this case. Like, he's the only one that's profiting.
Well, not with, I mean, well, but
Katie and Chris were about to get rid of Sebastian. So I'm like, what would they have had any motive?
Because she's getting to keep the Social Security money that she was getting from Sebastian. And now instead of having to pay for all of Sebastian's medical stuff, I also think that here's the other thing too, though. I think they had to get rid of Sebastian because he was talking to the school and the nurses and the counselors about what Chris was doing to him at the house. And how Chris was treating him, and then how Seth was reportedly treating him. And he was starting to talk about it. And see, this kid was getting older. I mean, he's 15 years old now. So I know for an absolute fact, I graduated from there. I know teachers in there. My kids went to school over there. I still know teachers over there. And I actually had an teacher assistant that my kids had call me at the beginning of this and ask me how much I knew. And we had like an hour-long conversation, and she said me herself, she said, I'm telling you, they got rid of him because he was talking. CPS had reported being over here several times.
Yeah, see, like, all the stuff that, like, Seth is doing has made him look so much, like, guiltier in my mind as, like, the guilty, like, as being, like, solely having the motive. Like, I just don't think, because Katie and Chris were allegedly having those marital problems, right?
Chris and Katie were having major, they were having fights in their backyard, yelling and screaming at each other. That was reported from multiple people. They were fighting and arguing. There was a neighbor close by that overheard Chris say, either you get rid of him or I am. He hated Sebastian, hated him. That was reported at school. One of the counselors admitted, or one of the teachers admitted, knowing that he absolutely hated him. Apparently, he also said it to one of his coworkers, and he hated him. He said, what did they call him? A freaking retard or something? He called him.
Yeah.
So I know Chris hated him, and I think that he was causing major issues in their marriage because Katie, being the mom, was trying to deal with all of his emotional issues. I also know that, and this has still not been talked about, but it is absolutely confirmed that he did not have autism. He had a chromosome deficiency that produces. Well, yeah, but they're still not talking about that either. And I think that she brought that up because she knew that if she didn't say anything, they would just deem this as a missing persons report. Or
But I'm going to say something. So my mom was this letter. She know that, Mommy.
Yep.
What the fuck is that?
What, Stephen?
What?
I just seen something that pissed me off.
Okay.
What'd you see?
That doesn't sound good.
Just fucking something else. Got nothing to do with it.
Huh. I don't know. Like part of me just thinks that, I mean, I was so anti Chris and Katie at first, but see, like, I think that Sebastian was so desperate for friends that it's very possible he could have been lured out to the car thinking he was meeting somebody.
But he wasn't, because every single one of our neighbors that on that street, all of them looked at the ring cameras, and there was absolutely nothing showing that anyone came on that street to pick him up or walk out with him. And the only video footage that has not been released to the public that, like I said, someone I know was there at the command center and saw with their own two eyes, somebody carrying him out the front door. And Chris even admits that on the audio when he was talking to dog divers. He specifically said that the dog scent went out the front door, turned to the left, went between the houses, exactly where the lights went.
Said that they did, or she did, or didn't. I didn't know who she actually worked for, so. Yeah, well,
There's a lot of BS out there. People saying there was no dog scent.
that's what I heard, and then I read the article from the actual news, and it said that the dogs got a scent that they from an article of clothing or something, and then they tracked all the way here, like several times.
Here's your better one. There was the dispatcher. The call got released from the dispatchers to the deputies and the responding units. In that release of information, you can clearly hear the dispatcher and the cops all say the dog's got a scent is over here in this pond.
Okay.
And I mean, for people to say no, it wasn't now bullshit.
Yeah, and that's what.
Deputies said they should in the dispatch.
And that's what everybody kept saying, and I'm like, there's got to be some truth to this, because that doesn't make any sense. Like, so yeah, they tracked here. So.
Yeah. And then, like I said, the path that they tracked. So, our subdivision, if you're in that subdivision, directly, the next subdivision over to the left is our subdivision.
Okay.
It's called Victoria Place.
Okay.
The scent that they got, as soon as you turn in our subdivision, you're on Keller. Driving all the way up to the very top of the hill at a four-way, you'll see that to the right, they're cutting in the new road that will link
all this together. Okay.
Yeah. The scent
Is that what he's talking about? Directly right there? Oh.
So a track. Yeah, they had a park. Yeah, there was no parking. The dogs were all there. Yeah, it was 100%. And do you know how much they actually drained?
They drained the whole thing.
It's okay.
So initially, when they went over to look at it, it was only knee deep. From the picture that you showed me, there's a lot of new runoff.
Yeah, that's what
where they're cutting. Yeah.
Trying to figure out. I was like, I don't know how shallow it was before or after.
Yeah. I'm 5'9", and it was knee deep. Okay. So, and they even drained it and still walked it.
Okay. So they actually walked it. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that is actually information that was told to me by law enforcement.
Yeah. So they actually,
Because I went on being law enforcement, they can put me in a vehicle.
Right.
Drove me around and showed me a bunch of stuff. I'm the only one that they got.
Okay.
So I can actually give you a little bit more information than what everybody's out there running their mouth.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going public with it.
No.
Quite honestly, I'm tired of the BS and the rumors.
That's what I kept trying to tell everybody. I was like, it's, you know, the kid, you know, I said he left the house, and then the internet went crazy with rumors and speculation. And I was like, I don't go off of rumors. I go off of what we got now. And I said something about that pond. I said, and it just stopped. I said, so that's where I want to go. That's where I want to search and try to figure this out. Then,
so to work backwards from the pond, okay, if you were to walk from the pond, go straight up into the construction site, you'll see where they cut the road and it turns left. If you walk that all the way back, runs you to our subdivision.
Okay.
If you go down Kelly, all the way down to Stafford, and walk down towards Stafford toward our house. From our house, if you're looking at my house, I'm going to tell you where the dog scent went. They started on the front porch.
Okay.
Because off the front porch, the dogs cut to the right. They go all the way down the side of the house along the fence.
So they went to the back side, or the that
right
to the north.
If you're looking at my house,
okay,
it's going to be the right hand side. The dog goes all the way down the fence. The dog comes all the way back up into the yard, and then it cuts diagonally to the house next door to us through their backyard. And that is the direction which the dogs take off. Now after that, that's where they get over to the main road, go up Kellen, and head over to the other subdivision.
Okay. I know.
They've had dogs.
How many? Yeah, a lot of dogs.
But day one, there was 5 dogs. There was a Belgian Malinois, a blue heeler, 2 bloodhounds, and a blue tick.
I know with good dogs, like they'll do the track that's on the ground, and then if they smell a stronger scent in the air that's closer, they'll go to that direct scent.
The dog handlers told me.
Welcome to the mistletoe. Thanks so much. Have a great holiday. Every charming little town has a dark.
First day.
Wow.
Monday. That the dog popped to a trail, and they followed it and went all the way around, and it ended in a construction site, but it ended. It's like there was nothing there.
Right. And that's a little odd.
Which
right?
Leads me to believe that, well, if it ends, normally the scent ends when you stop traveling on foot. From my understanding, that would mean that he got into a car.
If he got into a car, just so I understand the construction site itself, did the scent stop in the middle of the construction site, or did it stop on the side of the road? Me. Ah, okay.
They didn't tell me.
Okay.
So if all the dogs were tracking actually on the ground, then yeah, I feel like this is the play, like the spot to figure it out. Because if he would have cross tracked, like actually like headed back, they should have been able to pick up on it, like a good dog.
So in the 8 days of the experience in searching, in the 8 days, on day 1, the 5 dogs did that. Out of the 8 days, 3 different dogs from 3 different groups went to that same area in that same set. On day 1, 2 of those dogs did the same path.
However, we were told on multiple occasions that there was 0 dog scents. And I even asked the National Guard when they came with their dogs. I asked them, I said, did you guys get a scent? And they're like, well, we got something over in the construction site, but then it went away. I'm like, well, that's because nobody asked the people on the construction site. Nobody stopped the construction. They were building houses and moving dirt around while the dogs were over there searching for a trail. Well, no wonder why. They said that they got something in the yard, but that was expected because he was outside in the yard. Other than that, there was no other scent trails. So he didn't just walk out of his house on his own 2 feet.
I know that it was very dark that night. I mean, it gets dark around here at night in general, but so far we haven't found him on any camera footage to prove where he's at or where he's gone. I know that they're looking, and I went asking everybody and anybody that has cameras, trail cams, stores, to check, even from before he went missing, just to see if there's anything at all.
That I don't believe we can comment on right now. That is not something that I believe we're privy to at this point with law enforcement. That is something I would definitely direct back to them. But I mean, there's all kinds of requests out there. There's thousands of hours of video that they are combing, and we're just hoping they'll find something.
Help spread the word and keep searching, and thank you. And just, if you think you see him, call him in. Call his name.
Yeah.
He'll answer, and if he doesn't answer, he'll look, even if he's not being verbal at the moment, because he can talk, but sometimes he don't talk. Call his name. Tell him to stay put.
He could be on the move, so keep checking your properties.
Yes, like the search is never over until he comes home. That is for sure.
So smart.
That is for sure.
So smart.
Anywhere and everywhere. At this point,
It's been 11 days. He could be anywhere.
Yeah, they've searched the woods, they've searched parks, they've searched creeks, they've searched. At this point, it anything and everything.
Anywhere that he could
search.
be staying out of the weather or getting food, or, I mean, honestly, at this point, he could genuinely be anywhere.
What I can tell you is, with all law enforcement, with everybody that's involved, there's nothing that's been eliminated. Everything is on the table. Everything is being looked at from every possible aspect.
Everything from he got out and walked away and was outside of the search radius before we started searching to the worst. And
that's currently where we're at. I mean, it's...
Yeah. Really trying not to go down that road because...
All right, guys. So she says the worst, right? He could be here. He could be anywhere. And then the worst, right? And this is just kind of a compilation of what they've said, on multiple interviews. I forgot to even put this in here. So, and Jane, thank you. And also please you guys really have to document that stuff and get it straight away to law enforcement. I know that people are like, oh, it's just a piece of paper or whatever. But no one should ever be terrorized for telling the truth and for trying to find Sebastian.
Be staying out of the weather or getting food, or, I mean, honestly, at this point, he could genuinely be anywhere.
What I can tell you is, with all law enforcement, with everybody that's involved, there's nothing that's been eliminated. Everything is on the table. Everything is being looked at from every possible aspect.
Everything from he got out and walked away and was outside of the search radius before we started searching to the worst. And
that's currently where we're at. I mean, it's...
Yeah. Really trying not to go down that road because we're going to find him.
Speculating causes problems. Assumptions cause issues. And based on facts of what everybody knows, right now, there's nothing, and everything is still on the table to be looked at.
We just know he's out there somewhere. The signs that we've been blessed to have family, friends, and even some in the community that have been helping us, but we've been out spreading those as far as we can, even over state lines, trying to get awareness because, not everybody knows that he's missing, and there's a chance that if someone could see him and not even realize who he is. So we want to get his face out there because we want him home.
Surprisingly, even locally, there are some folks that don't even know what's going on, and it's kind of like a shocker. Like, how do you not know?
And a few others, but we're working with everyone we can. And taking, like, some people have been kind and reached out with resources that I didn't know were out there, and I've reached out to all of them. Truckers Against Trafficking, we reached out to them just in case.
And that's why, as a part of being in that world, we go and we utilize our brothers and sisters to help spread that word. You'd be surprised on how easy it is to spot somebody. The biker. So,
has your car been searched by police?
Multiple times.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to laugh at that, but that was editing. I did not do that editing. That was Chronicles of Olivia that did the biker world and this biker world. You know, oh Lord, utilize our brothers and sisters. Well, you need to utilize some more peeps to get Sebastian found. No, but again, bravo. Look at Chris's face. Bravo to Chronicles of Olivia. You know, just well done.
Been kind and reached out with resources that I didn't know were out there, and I've reached out to all of them. Truckers Against Trafficking, we reached out to them just in case.
and that's why, as a part of being in that world, we go and we utilize our brothers and sisters to help spread that word. You'd be surprised on how easy it is to spot somebody. The biker. So,
has your car been searched by police?
Multiple times, yes, ma'am.
Have scent dogs looked at your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you guys been out looking for Sebastian?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had search dogs inside the house and outside?
Yes, ma'am, I have. Yes, I sure have.
And what did the dogs hit outside?
So, as you know, if anybody has followed Mr. Gray's, what he was talking about, the dog and the trail and the scent and the overlay on the picture. So they're anywhere from 13 to 18 different dogs have been involved in this search.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on day one, there was 5 dogs. 5. There's an audio dispatch tape that's been released. I don't know who released it. Whatever, I don't have it, but you'd have to dig it and find it. In that audio tape, you actually hear that the deputy sheriff does state that the dog cants for the scent and takes over off to the retention pond and the construction site next door.
Okay.
Now, other dogs did the exact same thing. Now, am I going to say every single dog? No, but I do know of at least 3 dogs that went on the same scent trail, same path. The rest of the dogs, I'm not going to tell you that they are 100% honest and perfect and accurate, because honestly, dogs are only probably 25% reliable when it comes to a scent.
Okay.
Now, 8 days, I've had dogs in my house the first 8 days. In my house, outside my house, around my house, around the neighborhood. So, yeah.
So they've been there and, yeah, so they did, you're saying they did hit and they all went to that pond?
No, I didn't say all that. I just told you I've had 13 to 18 dogs in my house and around my house.
Mm-hmm.
I told you 3 different dogs hit on the same path that go to that retention pond.
Right.
I'm
That's
not going to say that every other dog.
Not every dog, but some dogs hit. Okay.
Right. So, but I want this to be crystal clear.
Okay.
So when people say every dog, that is not the case. 3 dogs went on the same path.
Okay.
That is all that we have on that. The rest of these dogs go in different directions, but it's all unreliable.
Follow up again on the dogs hitting. Earlier, Ms. Prophet had stated the dogs hit around the house, the barn, and at the retention pond. Is that correct?
I don't know about the barn, but I do know that they did track to the pond, yes.
Did the dogs also hit around the house?
Yes, ma'am.
On the outside of the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Were they scent dogs or cadaver dogs?
They've brought in both cadaver and tracking dogs.
I could do that. Jen, hold on one second. I think it's right here.
I've had 13 to 18 dogs in my house and around my house.
Mm-hmm.
I told you 3 different dogs hit on the same path that go to that retention pond.
Right.
I'm
That's
not going to say that every other dog.
Not every dog, but some dogs hit. Okay.
Right. So, but I want this to be crystal clear.
Okay.
So when people say every dog, that is not the case. 3 dogs went on the same path.
Okay.
That is all that we have on that. The rest of these dogs go in different directions, but it's all unreliable.
Follow up again on the dogs hitting. Earlier, Ms. Prophet had stated the dogs hit around the house, the barn, and at the retention pond. Is that correct?
I don't know about
the barn, but I do know that they did track to the pond. Yes.
Did the dogs also hit around the house?
Yes, ma'am.
On the outside of the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Were they scent dogs or cadaver dogs?
They brought in both cadaver and tracking dogs.
Which dog hit? A cadaver dog or a scent dog?
Scent dog.
It's all been scent dogs that have hit. The cadaver dogs have not hit on anything that we know of.
I was curious about a statement that Miss Proudfoot made earlier that canine dogs hit on the barn, around the home, and near a retention pond. Did that happen?
I'm not sure about the barn, but the retention pond, yes.
Because law enforcement says the dogs did not hit. But Miss
There's been
Proudfoot
a-
says they did hit around the retention pond.
Boom.
So there's been a
busted.
lot of miscommunication in regards to what is and what is not. To help clear that up, law enforcement has actually spoken directly with me, showed me a few things. What I can tell you is from day one, there was 5 dogs that started the scent for the search. And then after that, from the next 8 days out from that, there have been dogs from all over the country that have come in and done searches and had scent hits in various locations. But I would say a certain percentage of them tend to go toward the same spot, which would have been a retention pond.
So the law enforcement dogs did not hit on the retention pond. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying they did. There was at least 3 that I know for a fact that did hit on the retention pond.
And the pond has been drained, correct? And there was nothing there.
Yes, ma'am. They have walked it, drained it, and there's nothing. The retention pond was only knee deep anyways. Less than probably half a mile if you walk the whole path.
Is it through wooded area? Would he have had to walk through the woods to get there?
No, ma'am. You can actually walk either the main road or the subdivision. So the construction site is a subdivision, new addition that's being built, and they have a road that's going to be tied into our subdivision. So you could actually walk up that way, or you could walk to the main road and walk into it.
Did Sebastian ever sleepwalk?
No, ma'am.
So he would have had to leave the house undetected by Katie and walk all the way to that retention pond. Did the dogs follow the trail a half a mile?
Or not? Come on.
Yes, ma'am.
They followed the trail all the way to that retention pond?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's very curious, as they are saying the dogs didn't pick anything up.
Can I?
Well, and it's also very curious because look at Nancy. I mean, she's a little shark right here, and God love her for it. This is the Nancy that I love. This is the Nancy I know and love that puts people in the hot seat, isn't afraid to, ruffle a little feathers to get the answers that, we need. It's crazy. It's crazy. And thank you, Mandy, for being here. But yeah, this is the energy that I like to see from Nancy. What is going on here? You're telling me that he would have left undetected by Katie, and undetected by any of the cameras in the neighborhood and otherwise. No way. No way. I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that, Jen. I absolutely hate that. I absolutely hate that.
Okay. No, so I'd like to clarify this whole dog scent thing for once and for all. So the dog scent, everybody said, oh, the dogs didn't get a scent. Dogs didn't get. The dogs got a scent. What the dogs got and where it led to, there's a lot of misinformation as far as to the road, the construction site to this, to that, to this. For the record, there were so many dogs used. I don't know if we actually have a true count. On the day one, there was 5 dogs automatically. We know for a fact. They brought dogs in from out of state, different counties, all over the place. But of all the dogs, there was a couple that took them through a construction zone and took them over to a retention pond. Now, the retention pond is no higher than knee deep.
Right.
They walked it and they drained it. But from there, the scent disappears. There's poof.
I'll have to look. I haven't looked at the Mob Cruise video. It's been sent to me, but I haven't looked at that yet.
That one where he shares the audio between Chris and the narc divers, where he was telling the narc divers exactly where the dogs were and where he literally tells you exactly what my neighbor told Steven and I today the lights were at. I mean, it was like, when I heard that, the first thing I thought was, and I told my neighbor, I said, oh my God, Chris basically just admitted exactly where they took him. That blew my mind.
See, I'm not the same, Bobby. I don't agree with that. I think that if he was there and he was watching the dogs,
He wasn't, but I think that was a lie. There was I asked multiple times, every one of the officers that had their dogs out here, every one of them said there was no trail. There was no trail from his house to the construction site. They have no idea how he went from his house over to the construction site. I went out there and I watched the dogs walking.
but that's what's weird though, because when I talked to Danny and the other guy that was running the dogs, they told me that their dogs, there was also a third dog who was much younger that tracked also, lost the track after it went past that one house, and after that the dog tried to do some he was just too young. He obviously was not ready for the field. They actually ended up pulling that dog back.
I don't know about that one. I just know that the sheriff's department had dogs. Then TBI came in, and the National Guard brought their dogs. And every time we ever asked them, it was, there was not enough of a scent trail. There was a scent trail around his house, but it didn't lead us anywhere. And we were expecting that because of his house. So I'm telling you, from the neighbor next door, when she said that they had turned in their footage 2 weeks late when she was at the command center, and they saw this movement, and it looked like there was something draped over their shoulder. That was as soon as they said, she told me, she said, I'm telling you, somebody took him out of the house. And I'm like, okay, but what I'm saying about Chris's confession to me was that to me was Chris saying that he knows that they walked out with him, or somebody walked out with him. I don't think the dogs hit that. I mean, I think that they were carrying him out. And I think that Katie, they all know that what happened to him. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to say, wow, I'm surprised. But I just think all 3 of them know what happened to him.
Yeah. See, I just don't think I think if anybody's involved, it's Seth. I don't think that Chris and Kate, don't get me wrong. I originally went down Katie and Chris. I was that, all the way, 100 million %. But he didn't have any motive.
Because Bobby's sitting out here, and she'll tell you, we were standing there. Seth, because I've been around Seth personally. Bobby's been around Seth. He's a big dude who can't hardly, he's got back problems taking around. For him to move quickly, and he got that little guy was not a little guy.
No, that was Katie that ran back.
See,
absolutely. I would put I don't have $1 million, but if I had $1 million, I'd put $1 million on that being her that ran back.
But Seth could have easily paid, gotten somebody to do it for him.
But see, the thing with this is, I will tell you that Chris is nasty. He is meaning, and he went off on my son and I one night and threatened his girlfriend in the Jeep. I still have it on dash cam, which we didn't even realize it was running. Thank God it was. Where he confessed to me all kinds of crazy stuff, and afterwards it was over. We, my son and I looked at each other and we were like, "Wait, why did he tell us that? What is that? Why do we care?" He was telling us all kinds of stuff at the very beginning, and then threatened us with, "My mom's a realtor in Gallatin, and she knows everybody. She's got connections." And I'm like, I don't give a crap what your mom's doing. But that was a threat to me to shut my mouth and make sure I kept my mouth shut to let me know. That was intimidation. But he was like, he thought this, and I just wish I could describe to you the demeanor. I mean, the man stood in the middle of the street as we're driving slowly down the street. Now, this is my neighborhood. You're not going to tell me what road I can and can't be on. I live here too. I can go wherever I want to go at whatever time I want to go, as long as I'm not disturbing the peace, which we really don't even have. We're in the county, so we don't even have a noise ordinance kind of thing.
Yeah.
So whatever. But when he stood in the middle of the street, he stood with his feet basically hip width apart, his arms crossed, and his chest all puffed out like, "Whoa, you're not going to get past me." Put his hand out to stop us. My heart jumped out of my throat. I had my phone in my hand, and I thought at first it was the police, because I thought maybe the police were still over there. And I thought, oh crap, we're going to have to explain to the police that we're not being weird. Then I realized when I found out it was him and his demeanor, I had my phone and I had 911 already on my phone, and I was ready to hit send as soon as if I felt threatened by him. He's got this, "I'm bigger than you. You are going to leave me alone, and you're going to stop asking questions, and you're going to get out of my face, and you better not ever come back over here again." It was just this demeanor of, "Get away from me and get off me. Leave me alone and stop messing with me." He is creepy as crap. And then he bold-faced lied to the entire world when he told everybody, this is Chris, that he was on a three-way call with Katie and that he called the non-emergency number because of where we live. That's bull. You cannot get 911 through the non-emergency line. The very first thing, the audio recording that comes up when you call the non-emergency line is, if this is an emergency, hang up and call 911. Now, if you get to the non-emergency, that's what I was getting. I know, and that was the next thing I was going to say is, if that was his air quotes faster way to get to somebody, he wasted 5 minutes because you have to go through all the prompts, then you have to wait for a yes to connect your call. You've got a missing kid. If I had a missing kid, I would have been dialing 911.
You know how I know this? Because I had to call a non-emergency line the other day because a dude out here in front of my house, he's like speeding back and forth on his bike, and all of a sudden he's laying down on the back. I'm like, shit.
Oh no.
He's like, yeah, I'm okay. So I just, I didn't see it as an emergency.
Right. Just worried about you getting hurt.
I had to call, and sure enough, nobody answered, and it was like, you need to speak to the detective.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, it leads me to, it took about 30 minutes, but
it took me almost 10 minutes. It took me almost 10 minutes the other night when that truck drove by, because obviously that's not an emergency, so I'm calling the non-emergency number. It took me almost 10 minutes to get a dispatcher because it kept ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And I'm thinking, if my kid was missing, there ain't no way I'd call that. I'd be calling 911. I think what he did is these connections that he threatened me with. I think he called the non-emergency line to get a hold of whoever within Sumner County Sheriff's Office that he knows to say, hey, I'm going to need you guys to cover this up because this is what just happened. And then he got dispatched. I may be wrong with that one too. But why in the crap, if your kid is missing,
they're going to record all that shit, Bobby. They record all that shit though. So he would have had to have called them on a private line.
I'm stupid and don't know there's a trash truck versus a cell phone footage. They're hiding all this crap. There is so much corruption in Sumner County. It is blatantly obvious. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so Bobby's going, off of her theories, right? And she's trying to explain this to UA, but she's still saying like Seth has involvement, which is weird to me, right? Because again, at this point, 8/28/24, Seth's records had already been out. He passed a polygraph with the FBI and Nancy Grace, and so at this point it's odd to see that. Spirit Secret Squad, that's hilarious. No, we were somebody had said that last night in the chat, and I said I think we're all a little Kravitzy, a little Gladys Kravitzy, right? But no, it's another level with Bobby. It's like, because she can't help herself, but she's trying to talk to everyone, which I don't think that that's a bad thing, because I would do that too, I guess. But with Chris, I wouldn't, I just wouldn't want to deal with him, but especially because of what she's saying and other people who have encountered him, right? Like if somebody's like, that guy's really creepy, like I'm not going to be lining up to talk to that person, and maybe that was part of the plan, was to kind of, oh, I'm big bad Chris Proudfoot, so he's not pervy. Um, oh, hey Tessa. So UA Crimson is, I think she is like a TikToker. But she's come up on panels on YouTube, but she doesn't have a channel. So, but she's an advocate. She's an advocate for Chris Proudfoot, in my opinion. And Bobby the neighbor is on here with Crabtree, and they're talking, you know, about that. Oh, I didn't know they found Camilla's body. Oh my goodness. Oh, thanks, Holly, for saying that. Unbelievably annoying. That's a good one. I think worse when I hear the name, because I'm like, UA sounds like, I don't know, something strange. Um, oh, in San Antonio. Oh, goodness. Aw. Camilla Mendoza, rest in peace. That's so sad. Oh. Yeah, no, not too broke to go Harley shopping and fancy pendant. KP started wearing it, and CB mentioned to Chris on Facebook, do not forget mommy's new jewelry. Oh gosh, Kylie, how terrible. How terrible. You know? And Seth had to sit there and listen, you know? Oh, goodness. Yeah, your analysis, Kylie. That's what I think. That's what I think. Oh Lord. Okay, here we go. Here we go, guys.
Tried to convince me on the phone that those lights were a trash truck. And then he got mad at me because I was telling him that he was wrong.
Sorry,
So, just saying.
guys, I'm not a big job. I'm going to go get my daughter. But at the end of the day, man, I'm hoping. My biggest thing is that
We've got to come to the surface.
yeah, that's what I was going to say, man. Is that we're looking at. I think what we're seeing in front of us is this Chris dude's a special guy, man. He's good at what he does, and so I think that key evidence is what. It's funny because it will prove that Sumner County lied. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
They lied. And I think that's a positive thing, too, because we can, let's say that this is crucial evidence, but we can easily say, okay, did they lie or did they willfully, neglectfully ignore facts?
Absolutely. Well, the fact that they didn't shut the house down and lock it down on day one, the fact that they didn't shut and lock down the construction site as they were searching through it with dogs, right there shows you. And then my son saw that Thursday, the week that he went missing, that Thursday, my son reported to the that flyer that they were passing out to everybody that had to report what you see, whatever number on it. I think it was to the command post. Well, of course we had that just in case we saw anything. And it was that following Thursday or Friday, my son was standing out in our deck, which faces the construction site, and he saw this weird light moving around, disappear, come back on, move around, and then just disappear in the woods over in the construction area. Well, he calls that number, and the guy said, okay, we'll come check it out. Thank you for letting us know. Nobody came. Nobody even called him back to say, hey, tell me exactly where this was. I know Terry Lynn found all kinds of crap, and she reported it, and they told her that they weren't looking for that kind of stuff. I'm telling y'all, there is something going on.
I definitely will agree with that. There's something fishy in the air over there.
So I think that statement, if it's true, right, if we're to believe, you know, this story about Terry Lynn, and obviously we also know that they wouldn't take the mattress pad, so that could be part of what's being referred to on this. But it's not what they're looking for is the reason that was given. Now, again, I'm not too quick to believe everything that Bobby says, but some of the things that she said have turned out to be true. So I just kind of want to point that out. But she said that law enforcement wouldn't take certain items because that's not what they're looking for. You know, very interesting. So.
I'm having something to eat. Did you? One of AG's days, I talk to Jerry all the time. You know, it's sickening.
Yes. I just hope, Stephen, that you keep looking and you keep doing what you're doing, because I think, you're one of the good guys who really actually care, and you're not in it for the money, and you're trying to, get information. So I just hope that you will continue doing what you're doing, and I will continue giving you information that I find out. But I think today was really good. Yeah, that was cool.
Today was awesome.
Yeah. Well, be on the lookout for some random ass vehicle in your neighborhood too.
Something like that.
And put that.
Pretty damning, you know what I'm saying? Come out. It's not standing up against you. You know what I'm saying? But
no, I know. It confirms exactly what I was told.
Well, and that's the thing, guys. It goes back. I think it's pretty damning, right? Because it made you look bad on JLR. But when the mom crew put out this video, it proved at that moment, like he proved it. That's not a fucking trash truck.
Right.
So, and I think that right there should establish help at least start to establish like your credibility with that part of everything. And like, she was trying to tell us. So,
Steven, send Bobby my number too.
Okay, so right there, Stephen Crabtree is saying that Mob Crew established the Lights video as not being a trash truck. And he certainly did, in my opinion, establish that very, very well. Right? We know it wasn't a trash truck. It's not some lights behind. That's what I think. So I think he did a great job of establishing what the lights were in the neighborhood. Even we have Crabtree conceding that. Right? So just so, everybody hears that part.
But when the mom crew put out this video, it proved at that moment, like he proved it. That's not a fucking trash truck.
Right.
So, and I think that right there should establish help at least start to establish like your credibility with that part of everything. And like, she was trying to tell us. So,
Steven, send Bobby my number too.
Like, we're at a weird road right now, but I do think that we're at the very end of a very long road. That this money, do I think this money will make anybody talk? No, I truly don't. But I offered to put $2,500 with it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Steven, send Bobby my number.
Money to the reward fund. That's a lie. Just FYI, you cannot. I called the FBI in Memphis. They definitely told me that you cannot.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, now I feel like a jackass.
Well, you tried.
Yeah. So, well, because the way I look at it is like, I'm not putting money in the fucking hands of Seth or anybody. I'm just going to put it in this pot, and so what if it never gets used? At least it might, maybe one day it goes to something good,
Right.
So, but who knows, man.
She was trying to say something. What were you trying to say?
I was saying, hey, Steven, send her my number too, so she just has it.
Okay, yeah, no,
but yeah, Wolfhard, I don't she was trying. It was very odd because people were even pointing that out. Like, where is she at in her house? Like, kind of like, where is she at in her house? You know, like, that's not her bed. She doesn't have her dog with her, you know?
Does she have your number, or you want to keep it guarded?
Have my number?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as she doesn't like spread it all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
She's definitely not that.
I just,
Yeah, no, I don't.
I was treated by, everybody on jail or crap like that. I just try to make sure. Yeah, I feel like I can trust Steven now. So,
Yeah, no, I don't
trust you. I'm like, okay, I'm willing to help you out and call you when I hear something.
No, I freaking am friends with. I still talk to Riley's parents. Like,
Okay, so Bobby, if Bobby deems you to be trustworthy, right, which is not a good decision at this point, in my opinion, then she will tell you information and give you information. But if she doesn't like you and you're in the neighborhood posting flyers of Sebastian, she doesn't like you. I just want to point that out, right? That's her telling us this, not me making it up.
I still haven't made up figured out what exactly went on, but something isn't right with that whole thing. And I never talked about it. I mean, I never really, I never even asked them to come to bat for me on certain stuff, because it just didn't matter at the end of the day. I didn't go through what they went through, but it's just, I would definitely recommend putting up a sign that at the beginning of the neighborhood saying this is under surveillance.
Yeah.
And
I talk to my neighbors and see if they.
You don't even have to. You don't even have to. You don't even have to put up cameras, Bobby. Y'all just put up a sign that says that is.
I try not to be this. Even though I'm the admin of the group, starting the group, I don't want to come across as this. Well,
over being
super nosy neighbor that wants to control everything, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of us are just burnt out with all of the YouTubers that keep coming through here, and then people that say crap about our neighborhood and try to tell us that, well, I can't believe they don't have. Somebody said, well, that whole neighborhood should have green everywhere, and then nobody cares about him because the whole neighborhood should be decorated in green.
Hold the fuck up. What about the other missing kids, man? What about them? What about Deanna's daughter, or her niece that she raised? Brooke Anderson, who's been missing for fucking 7 years. What about that?
Right. What about all of the other kids? Right. What about all of the other kids? Not about Sebastian. What about all the other kids? And you should have the neighborhood painted green. Well, that would be nice. That would be nice of you guys, except for you're afraid of Chris and Katie, right? So you don't do it. So it's really not about Sebastian, because you can't possibly think that this beautiful child isn't worth decorating your front lawn in green for him, right? What a rude comment. What an absolutely rude comment. Yet there's corruption, Bobby, and you do nothing to stop it. Right? Except for it's okay for you to go from person to person online and start a whole bunch of shit. But that's okay. That's all right, as long as you deem them to be trustworthy. Yeah, and she's the admin. She's so important, Gina. She's just so freaking important, right? I'm the admin. If you're the admin, then do something about it. That means that you're a leader, right, Bobby? So stop being a follower and start being a leader. Because I thought what you did to begin with was awfully brave until you realized that you're doing that behind the scenes and you're causing more trouble than you're doing good, which is always a good time to stop. If you realize that you're causing more trouble than doing good, maybe just stop. Take a step back. But instead, here you are, months after this child's disappearance, and you're complaining about awareness in his neighborhood where he went missing from. Miss Admin, that's poor leadership.
Man, what about these other kids kids that go missing every day. That's something that I don't tolerate. Am I close to the Sebastian stuff? And do I care? Absolutely. But there are other fucking kids that are passed up every day, not spoke about. That shit just pissed me off, man. Talking about they were green everywhere. Shut the fuck up with that.
Well, it didn't make any sense to me, and several of my neighbors that I'm friends with and know well around here asked me, what the crap is going on with all this stuff? And they're like, why do we need signs all over our yard and everything green? We know the kid's missing. We're very aware of this. We're the neighborhood that got flipped upside down and got invaded by, everybody to look for this kid. And you're yelling at us for not having signs everywhere? Where is he going?
Now, on the 6-month anniversary, I can understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would say, put some green in there, man. That's your neighborhood. So, be like, hey, man, especially given he's not found, okay? Or the year mark, stuff like that.
We had vigils. I mean, we had a vigil with everybody in the neighborhood that came down. We all prayed for him. We all walked around. We all talked about it. We're all, we all went out searching the first few days. All of us were out in our neighborhood. We all looked around our yard. We all looked around. We all several of us drove around town looking for him. We have been out doing stuff that we don't need signs everywhere and posters everywhere. We're aware of this.
Yeah.
We're living it.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't believe in having it. I mean, and that's also bad to keep living in the past. You got to move forward.
Well, that's kind of where we are now. I think everybody's just burnt out and just ready to move on. We want him found, and especially several of us have said we want to move on, but we also want him found, and we definitely want him found, especially if there's some kind of foul play. Nobody wants to think that if they did do something to him, that they continue to live in that house. And they are bringing us stress. If they did something to him, okay, we'll talk later.
All right.
This is the 1,400 hours a year you waste on your phone. With Purdue Global, you can turn that time.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. I was on mute. Chuchi says, Bobby, I'm going to DoorDash you a pot stirrer because you keep stirring the pot, in my opinion. Chuchi, exactly. And that's why I'm very leery of all of this. Hey, Sabrina. I'm very leery of this situation. And Letitia Stout does, it's very reminiscent of Letitia Stout. And all of her fuckery, and a lot of us know about how she acted and what she did. Very, very, very reminiscent of that. Yeah, and he's mad. He's mad about it, and he's mad about even people in their own neighborhood coming by to kind of figure things out. I think that's pretty natural. And if you didn't have any guilty knowledge or anything to do with it, you would be welcoming that, right? You'd be like, "Thank you so much for trying," or, "Hey, you're wearing a t-shirt with my son's photo on it. Thank you." Something. It's been so strange from the very beginning, Yeah, Bobby doesn't need the sign. Sebastian does. Thank you, Blessed. Exactly. Exactly. And it is so sad that people are like, well, I'm sick of hearing about it. Well, don't you think Seth is sick of hearing about it? Don't you think he would just rather have his son home with him? It's creepy. It's creepy. Valley Gill says, hey, Bobby, your neighborhood is not that special. In fact, in my opinion, it's creepy. I mean, I got a sickish feeling, like a bad, like, I don't know, foreboding feeling, that weird feeling, both times that I went in there. And it wasn't in the construction area. We went in there and that part was all right. But right when I saw Victoria Place, and it could just be because of, working on the case and stuff like that, because it is a creepy situation. We have a missing child. Sebastian Rogers is missing. He's been missing for almost 2 years now. And his family is not doing much about it. Seth is, but the family is not, which is equally disturbing, right? They'd rather talk about other kids, right? which is sad. Was the house a touchy subject? I don't think so. For Chris it is. Yeah. For Chris it is, Krista. In my opinion, KK's responsible. She knew if Sebastian went missing, Crispy would not win his custody battle, so she did not want any kids. And I think that that's a strong possibility, Little Red, and we talked about that too. I mean, that could really be a strong possibility. You know, um, it's one of those things where I don't think either one of them wanted to have kids. I think that Crispy likes having the power and control over his ex-wife, right? Because he's a narcissist, and they love that. That's what they thrive on. That's their fuel, their energy. They live off of it. So, um, she was getting Social Security, and they made too much money. Boom. Well, and that's another thing too. I mean, we have to consider the money. You know. Um, oh, thank you, Detroit. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, he does. He does. He does. He's super sus. He's super sus. And Seth didn't do anything, in my opinion, that would make us believe that he had anything to do with it. It's a lot, Gina. Exactly. It's a lot. And that's why, and when they're willing to all band together to do something horrible, it's like we already know that they will. And the same thing is for Katie's side of the family, because I never wanted to discount that side of the family until, they were thoroughly checked into, and it seems like they were, Hey, Don B says, what have Chris and Katie been up to lately? Oh boy, not searching, in my opinion, not doing a whole lot, you know, um, and it's sad. It's sad. Well, and it is a lot of rumors, Little Red. It is. I just wish that she would um do what's in the best interest of Sebastian. And in my opinion, if she's the one providing this camera footage, which I believe it probably is her. If it's not, we'll discuss that too, of course. But that's where I have a really big issue. I also wanted to show let me see here. Let me take this one off. I wanted to show you guys this. This is from the earlier when we showed the map. Hey Jude had sent this over to me, and this is a Max 2.0 cellular trail camera. No, I don't want to scout like a pro. It's asking me if I want to scout like a pro. No, thank you. And let me put this on here just so you guys can see it. And this might be what they were referring to, is this cellular trail camera type of a deal, a stealth cam, if you will. And please feel free to help us out, guys, because I know nothing about these. But either way, here we go with this, and you know, it might not be exactly the one that was used, but it's very much similar to what could have been used there. Okay, you guys can see that. Sorry, I didn't know if it switched over. So yeah. And this is a littler one. And there's a deer. Poor little guy is unsuspecting. He's about to be lunch. Yep. And then there's that. So, and it has an antenna, really pretty high tech. Katie's actions don't match Katie's words. She requested for Sebastian to not get lost in the feeds while she studies. She stays silent. Huh. I know, exactly. And that's a big, big problem. It's a big problem because she gets mad and says they're getting, bashed and things like that. Every time we come out, people bash us. But I think it's more than that, because I agree that it's tough for them to come out, because people do get upset, by Katie's lack of emotion. She's stone cold, right? She brings up other children other than her own missing son. And so that's a big issue. And everybody notices it. Lunch, hey Jude. Poor little unsuspecting deer becomes lunch. Thanks, Don. Thank you. But yeah, it's been 2 years of the knuckleheads, and I think that people are absolutely sick of it. I know I am, so I think I can speak for that. Um, it's terrible. Yes, I play a lot of circus music, Krista. I do. I play a lot of circus music. The lunch munch brunch. Oh my goodness, Jude. She had over 8 months and zero news interviews. Yes, that's crazy to me. Other mothers don't give a fuck, right, what people say, and they want their kids' faces seen. 100%. Yeah, Mandy, you got it. Because and that's what is so odd, right? Because they just want their kids to be found, and they want people to know about them, and to see their face, so that way if you're, say you're out somewhere or even in your own neighborhood, there's cases where people keep kids, and then they get a little bit bolder. It's not as common. Usually statistically it is someone in the family. She doesn't say she misses or loves him, Tina. So, and that's a very sad situation. Aw, thanks, Little Red. And see that when we see it, we know it's genuine. I think that's another thing that people get frustrated with Katie, is she's not genuine at all. Not at all. Not at all. It is. It's sad and gross. If we go back to before LE basically cleared the Vaughn family, Brandy took harsh opinions and kept going. She never stopped for Monkey. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Mandy. Um, that situation was tough too, because even her husband was, obviously the last one there, so that's whose people are going to look at. But people went deeper than that, right? They like really were harsh, and they shouldn't have ever been that way, in my opinion. But then once you realize that, this is a family that had nothing to do with it, at all. uh, we had four predators, disgusting predators that were waiting, and they were able to track Monkey. And, that is um, a great point of reference when we're looking at cases, is seeing how much law enforcement in that little town, where people would say, wow, they don't probably have the resources, they probably don't have this or that. And they knew everything in the very beginning. And so that's what makes me wonder about law enforcement in Sumner County. What are they doing? But then it also gives me faith in places like Lake Odessa, where it's a smaller area as well, with Devlin Tate. He kept going, and I know, and could you, and see, this is the biggest thing, Spirit Seeker, thank you so much for saying this. Yes, Tyler kept going, and he beat himself up too. And it's not that we like to see people beating themselves up, right? But when that doesn't happen, it gives me big red flags about the person, because all I know is that for me, if a child went missing out of my care, doesn't matter if it was my child or someone else's, my spouse's child, I would be beside myself with guilt. I would do anything to find help, right? To console, to say I'm sorry, right? But we don't see that with Katie. She doesn't feel guilty about what happened, and she was the last one with her son. That is so strange to me. That is one of the biggest things that I cannot get over with Katie. Rosebud says, I think it's very revealing that Nancy Grace asked of him, saying that there was a hit, and Ellie says that there was not. He never answered her question. CP is not an investigator, but he has set every narrative. I agree with that 100%, Rosebud. Yeah, absolutely. And Nancy was like, why are you telling me that there was a scent when there wasn't? Why are you trying to lie to me about the dog scents, right? And she called him right out, you know? Well, he did inherit the mess. He did. He did. Hey Jude says, Brandy Neal, bless her heart. I hope she's recovering. I know, exactly. Thank you, Hey Jude. I hope they had a good Christmas. It broke my heart to hear Tyler talk to. Yeah, exactly, Spirit Seeker. Just like it does when I hear Seth talk. They love their babies. Yeah, and it's just, even if it wasn't um anything that you had to do with it, when your child goes missing, you're like, you don't ever want to say anything bad about him, right? That's another thing that they've been doing with Sebastian, is saying bad things about him. And it's sad. Sorry guys. But yeah, they instead of saying, good things about Sebastian, or even saying, I wish I would have been a better parent because you're missing your child, right? They went missing and it's a tragic, horrible situation. But I'm just surprised that there's not anything like that. I've seen it in Seth, not in Katie, not in Chris. You know, they do. They distance themselves away from the house. Exactly. But and see, that's why I'm so hesitant with the cemetery theory, even though I think we have to check into everything. Obviously, hopefully law enforcement is going to do that. But no, with them not wanting to bring any attention to the house, I'm almost surprised that they did with the 3 a.m. lights, if that's how Sebastian got out, unless he never made it home. So, you know. Oh, good. I've heard good things too, Spirit Seeker. Thank you for confirming that. Brandy is doing so well. It makes my heart happy to know she's so strong. Absolutely, absolutely. And Michael's got a sister, and oh my goodness, yeah. BHB was sticking up for her and trying to protect her and defend her, and then she called the cops. Um, Sad news bears. Buddy said, yeah, that's the thing. Bobby is very two-faced, so I don't know. I'd be hesitant to work with her. You know. Hey, Jean. In my opinion, you tell the truth about your kid, good and bad. Um, I can see them saying the truth. The truth is different than saying that their child needed deodorant, or laughing at the way he dances. He's got a unique rhythm. That sort of thing is different, in my opinion, Gene. Than, because I get what you're saying, where, if you're being interviewed, you want to be honest. We all need to know, even especially when someone's missing, right? Good and bad qualities about them, because that could lead us someplace. Like if they are doing something that would be looked at as unfavorable, but it's part of what they were doing at that time, it's important to know. So anytime Katie and Chris talk about Sebastian, they always end up with a negative. Yes, exactly, Spirit Seeker. I remember that's how I found you, lady. You clipped them on Queen Bee's panel, that talk. Oh, not interview. Yes, it was. Oh, yes, very revealing. Yeah, thank you, Spirit Seeker. I appreciate you for doing that. Wow. And that's, that interview was very telling, because Katie was very comfortable, the most comfortable I've ever seen her. So yeah, I'm glad that that was noted, because up until then, I didn't really know what to make of Katie's situation. But then you kind of see her in action, you know. Um, I'm disappointed too. I hope that it changes, Hey, mom, and yeah, exactly. I can't imagine anyone saying I'm sick of hearing about it. That's always bothered me. It's strange, you know? It's strange. Katie probably has gone on every Disney trip while Sebastian was with Seth. Yeah, and that was another weird thing, Gina. Like, I can't even believe that um when I looked at Mama Socks, her Facebook, and it was like nothing of Sebastian. I thought that was the weirdest thing ever. Because especially a grandma, like grandmas usually love everybody, right? Right? You know, so I was like, it made me cry when I saw that the first time. I was like, what do you mean he's not on her Facebook? And then I'm like, oh, we're dealing with somebody horrible on this, you know? So, thanks, Hey Jude, you know? Um, Well, thank you all so much for being here, you guys. I'm gonna hop off. It was a really good live. I appreciate everybody being here, and let's just keep moving forward to find Sebastian. Um, if something happened that night in the cemetery, say there was a handoff, because I know that was another theory, and that's one that I can say that I think could be a strong possibility. What happened next? Like, where did they take Sebastian? And I think that's kind of where we're at. I'm gonna be here for New Year's. I'm gonna do a New Year's live tomorrow night, and I have a video that's gonna come out of the missing for the end of the new year. Sorry, you guys. All right. So he was trying to say he wanted to eat dinner. But yeah, so I just think that we need to figure out what happened to Sebastian next, you know? Hi, Jace Camp, True Crime Campfires. You were chasing the chicken. Did you get him? I know. I can't believe it's the end of 2025 either. Oh my gosh. This year has flown by. This year has flown by. It really has. And I really didn't think, oh, darn, damn it. um, you know, so I was just sorry, you threw me off with gotcha. You just go in there and the chickens are already made up for you. You can get them. You can get fried chicken over there at Walmart, I think. But I think it's important to kind of figure out maybe now what happened to Sebastian next, right? Which way did these cars go? If it was something that happened in the cemetery, which way did they go? Um, all of those things are important to look at. So dipping sauce, your choice of dipping sauce. Yeah, yeah, I know. And Valley Gal, I just could not believe that. I can't even believe that. Um, Nothing of the kids, because you think grandmas are just so proud to show everybody the pictures of the kids, and we don't see that. So, uh, it's hard to catch a clucker, Jude. Well, guys, thank you all so much for being here again. And also, I will see you guys tomorrow night. I'm gonna try to do like maybe a 10:30 show Eastern time, so that way we can, ring in the new year and all of that good stuff. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. The darn murder chicken. Mutter chicken. Sorry, mutter chicken. Mother chicken. That's just fun to say. That's just fun to say. Kathy says praying for Sebastian and Seth, and for Seth to keep up the faith and strength. Hashtag Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers strong. That's right. Thank you, Kathy. And I appreciate the prayers for Seth. This has got to be hard. This has got to be so, so, so very hard. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you. Thank you. For Oh, good, good. KJ, that's amazing. So Hindsight will also be live at 8:30 p.m. too. Good deal. Aw, thank you for the green hearts, you guys. Thank you. tried. I tried to use Spirit Seeker. That's funny. That is so funny. Yes, hey Jude, and you did not have to send that super chat, but yes, ma'am. Give me a call. Give me a ring. Thank you. All right, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys being here, and yeah, we'll bring in the new year. Yeah, little Miss Sharon, that'll be fun. We'll do something fun for the new year. I don't have anything big planned, but I wanted to get that video out because of that beautiful poem Andrea sent and everything. So we're gonna do that, and I wanted to grab everybody's photos that I can bring in. So I will see you guys all tomorrow night. And everybody stay safe, travel safe if you're out there traveling, have a DD, all the good stuff. So, definitely. Oh, thank you, little Miss Sharon, for the super sticker. You guys, thank you. Oh, I'm so glad you were here too, Mandy. That's why I love doing the day shows because it does help out with, getting people who aren't up so late. And I just love having all of you guys in here. So thank you very, very, very much. And I will see you guys next time.